Not a pretty sight. A racetrack in the rain. Finally time for the drivers to buckle in and go racing at Bristol Speedway. Caution flag has just come out for rain.
If I'm Clint Boyer's crew chief, I gotta leave him out there.
But a few of the guys chasing him, they've got nothing to lose. NASCAR just pulled the plug, and Clint Boyer has been declared the winner of this race. You know, this time a year ago, Carl Edwards had a 700-point lead over second place in the Nationwide Series Championship. Entering tonight, it is much more interesting than that. After Carl's win in Michigan, Clint Boyer's leads down to 113 points, with Brad Keselowski only another 19 behind him. Boyer's only win this season, as you just saw, right here at Bristol back in March. Shannon, he starts ninth tonight.
That's right, Alan. And of course, Clint Boyer knows he has lost some ground in the point standings, but you've also said that you love this track. You won here in the spring. What's your confidence level like right now going into this race?
It's high. We had a good day. You know, it's been a lot of fun. It's been a long day, but put some laps in, and the BB&T Chevrolet's been pretty good. A little bit loose in qualifying, but I think that's what you need. Got a little bit tight last race here and almost lost. So hopefully we can keep the old girl freed up and pull back into victory lane.
Yeah, you just said it was a long day. Actually, 191 laps. I counted. Is how many laps you've already turned on this racetrack between, of course, Cup and nationwide practices and qualifying. How difficult is it to stay mentally and physically focused for a race like this?
Well, it's just, you know, you got to be comfortable out here. This is a track where if you're loose and you're up on the wheel and nervous, afraid you're going to crash every corner, you know, you're going to wear yourself out. But car's handling good, it's comfortable, and that's what you want. You want to get in a rhythm here. This is definitely a rhythm racetrack, and you got to get in a rhythm, and the track's widening out a little bit, so hopefully that'll give another groove, and we'll get to race and put on a good show for these fans.
And right behind Clint Boyer in the point standings is Carl Edwards, who had a great points weekend last week at Michigan.
Carl Edwards wants to win one.
That's it, checkered flag.
Carl Edwards is a winner at Michigan.
Good job, guys. It means a lot to win here. Thank you so much.
Yeah, he earned it, and he's earned a pretty good point today, too.
And over the last 5 weeks, Carl Edwards has cut 141 points off his deficit. How's that changed the way you look at your championship chances?
Well, it definitely makes it seem, you know, a lot more within our reach. You know, Clint is an amazing competitor, and he's really good here. So, you know, this is a track where we're hoping, you know, with the Save a Lot team, we can just go out here and have a good, solid run and not lose any to Clint. So, you know, the last few weeks have been awesome. We just can't get ahead of ourselves. We just have to hope that it continues.
You're pretty good here, too. You've won in the Truck Series, Nationwide Series, and, of course, the Cup Series. You know what it takes to be successful here. How good's your car tonight?
I think the Save a Lot Fusion's real good. Qualifying was a little bit of a mess. You know, it was really loose. I mean, real loose. So, you know, Drew said he's made the adjustments. Him and Daryl have made everything, hopefully, so that it'll be good here tonight. But this is one of those fun races. It's like, you know, a real Friday or Saturday night race. So you practice, you know, during the day, and then you really don't know how it's going to be. It's going to be an interesting one, that's for sure.
Well, the championship chase right now, pretty interesting as well. Carl not the only one chasing down Clint Boyer. Brad Keselowski, third in the standings, just 132 points back.
Brad Keselowski doing a great job. First-time winner, Brad Keselowski. I don't think he's coming in when he runs out of gas.
It's awesome. This is it. This is what I've been dreaming of my whole life.
Brad Keselowski has been running with these guys toe-to-toe, week in and week out.
We have a battle for this championship.
And Brad Keselowski has been the top performer in the Nationwide Series the last 6 races, average finish of 9.3. That's ahead of Clint and Carl. What are your chances of narrowing that gap here at Bristol, Brad?
Well, Bristol has been a great track for us in the junior motorsports team, so we didn't qualify where we want to, but the last 2 races I've had here, you know, we finished 7th and 4th, and hopefully we can get it 3 spots better and get a win here today.
All right, you had your problems in qualifying, you said it. You start 37th. How challenging is tonight going to be? Extremely
challenging. There's almost always a wreck in the first 5 laps, and when you're in the back, you know, it's going to be in front of you, so finding a way to dodge that's going to be tough, but I'm confident in my crew with Tony Sr. that we'll have the right calls on pit road to get us some track position, and we can go for the win.
Well, no doubt about it. He's going to be exciting to watch coming from the back to the front, looking for a good points night. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. And the driver introductions continue. The fans continue to file in here in Thunder Valley. And we are getting ready. They're already ready, but we're getting ready for 250 laps tonight for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And you know, I think, just having listened to the 3 championship contenders there, I think this is a huge night for Clint Bowyer.
Oh, without question. Clint Bowyer's really struggled over the past, 8, 9, 10 weeks at completing and getting up front, getting that win, running in the top 5. He's gotten to Carl Edwards a couple of times, who's knocked him around. He's feeling that lead start to leak away, so he feels a lot of pressure to go out and not just run well, he wants to win tonight.
Well, this could be his night. I mean, Brad, this could be his night because he is so good on the short tracks, Alan. This guy has won here before. He knows how to get this done. He's won up at New Hampshire, and everybody knows that if he's going to close it up, it's probably going to be here because of his past success.
Richard Childress has had so much success as an organization here at Bristol as well. Let's take a look at Carl Edwards' record. In the 9 races since the crew chief change for his team was made by owner Jack Roush, Drew Blickensderfer taking over heading of this number 60 operation. It's amazing what a little shakeup can do.
Absolutely phenomenal. Drew Blickensderfer has come in at 9 races. They've got 3 wins. Carl is being super aggressive again. I like this young man. He smiles in your face, but I think he'd bite the tip of your nose off if he can get close enough to you. He's going to be a handful tonight.
I'll tell you what, man, Pierre Cattell did a great job with Edwards last year, but I guess you say change is good.
Change is good.
You change a little bit of stuff up, and look what happens. And, hey, this could go wrong just like it went good.
Oh, ain't no doubt about it. They're on a roll right now. They're going to ride that momentum.
Drew Blickensderfer there, the crew chief who has led Carl to 3 wins, as I said, in these last 9 races. Now, Brad Keselowski, you heard from him just a minute ago. What a run he's been on with this 88 Navy team here in these last 12 weeks. Been phenomenal.
Yeah, it really has. Brad's done a great job. He's had a super season. As we remember back to the first part of the season, Earnhardt Jr. kind of called him out for being a little bit too arrogant with what he's done, but he stepped up, filled those shoes, and he's a real contender to win this championship.
Now, wasn't it at Charlotte in May when he called him out?
That's exactly right.
And look at the numbers since then.
They're still pretty good, aren't they? The kid's done a great job. I mean, he's so polite. He really works in that car good. He gets it handling good, gives them good feedback, and that's what they got to have to be successful. He's doing a good job.
And like Brad said, he's back in the back for the start tonight, 37th at the green. Probability of a wreck in the first 5 laps high. We'll have to keep an eye out on that for him. Now, I mentioned this is a big night for Clint Bowyer. Another thing Bristol can be big for is paybacks.
Well, I tell you what, if you have to pay a driver back, I will guarantee you one thing. This place right here is the very best place to have payback. You can bump them just a little bit, knock them dead sideways.
Got to tell you just a little bit sorry about that.
And it's like, hey, I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
A little four-wheel drift. Sorry about that.
Well,
didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, a little more of that,
Not
just a mistake.
Not that we're trying to stir anything up, but remember that Carl Edwards has gotten into Clint a couple times this year, and let's see. Carl starts 8th, Clint starts 9th. It's Bristol. You never know. Just thought I'd bring that up.
If you had to get it done, this is the place to do it.
Yeah.
That has crossed many drivers' minds.
You know, they once held a football game on the infield here back when there was grass in the infield, which leads me to, that's called a transition,
There
Brad.
you go. I'm with you.
College football season is about to get underway. Gillette presents Kickoff Week on ABC next Saturday night. You'll see either the Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Clemson Tigers or the Michigan State Spartans and the California Bears. The Chick-fil-A College Kickoff game, part of College Kickoff Week, presented by Gillette. ABC Saturday, 8 Eastern Time. Kenny Wallace had his best qualifying run of the season. The 94 winner of this race, starting 12th tonight. Never know. See what kind of run Herm can get. Maybe he can score top 10 for his underdog team. Bristol seems to be one of Jason Leffler's best tracks. Involved in that thrilling finish here a year ago. Starts 19th tonight. And don't rule out Denny Hamlin. He's in the Braun 32 tonight, starting a little further back in 26th. We will track his progress through the night in Thunder Valley. They've been tailgating all day, waiting to see who takes the check.
Was that a full moon or was that the sun, boys?
1 year ago tonight here at Bristol Motor Speedway, Casey Kane driving the Gillette Evernham 9 car. Got into a little scrape about lap 132 of 250. Came back through the field, and with 8 laps to go, took the lead in a terrific 3-way fight with Jason Leffler and Ryan Newman. Kane hung on to score the win in the 9 car. Elliott Sadler drives the 9 car tonight, Shannon, and he's starting in 4th position.
That's right, and it's a kind of a rare appearance for Elliott Sadler here in this Nationwide Series. How did they talk you into doing the race here at Bristol?
Well, all they had to say was Bristol. I mean, this has been one of my favorite tracks. I mean, you just come here as a fan. I came as a kid and just loved this place. The bumper-to-bumper car is pretty good in practice today. We qualified good, and that's half the battle, getting a good starting spot. And Just looking forward to this race. It's so much fun. There's no points, no pressure. Just go race hard, stay out of trouble, and try to go get them at the end. But I love this place. I can't wait for us to get started and hopefully have a lot of fun tonight.
For you Elliott Sadler fans, he was battling a flu earlier this week, but he told me he feels much better. Alan?
All right, Shannon, thanks. We will keep an eye on car 9 tonight, see if it can go back to victory lane again in the night race at Bristol. 14 minutes and counting to the green flag tonight here in Thunder Valley as the fans continue to file in and driver introductions begin to wrap up. A little bit of news and notes here for you. The 2009 Nationwide Series schedule, released earlier this week by NASCAR, features the same number of races, beginning with the traditional season opener in Daytona. A couple of new wrinkles. Montreal becomes an open Sprint Cup weekend race. That's August 30th. The Atlanta race moves from spring to fall on their new Labor Day race. Mexico City's out, replaced by an August 1st race at the Iowa Speedway, designed by one Russell William Wallace.
Thank you very much. And we love it, too. I mean, we're going to host a great event there. I know all the competitors are going to love it. Those are the guys that helped us get that date. They went to NASCAR and said, we love the Iowa Speedway. We want to race there. Nationwide Insurance wants to be there. We're pumped up, guys.
Absolutely. A lot of guys have been out and tested. A lot of guys have been out there. Everyone loves the racetrack. Said it's an awesome track to drive. The facilities are first class. I'm looking forward to going to Iowa, baby.
In starting tonight's race, Jason Keller will tie the record for most ever Nationwide Series starts at Bristol. What driver does he tie?
At Bristol?
Yeah.
Nationwide starts at Bristol.
Most nationwide starts at Bristol.
Jack Ingram.
Nope.
Harry Gant.
No. Dale Jarrett. Who
Jarrett,
has 30. And by the way, DGA has more top 5s in the Nationwide Series than any other driver here at 11.
He does have a lot of white hair.
Oh, wow. That was Brad Doherty, DJ. Let's go trackside for the opening ceremony. Woof.
The presentation of colors tonight by the Cherokee High School Junior ROTC. Please rise for the invocation by Mike Reif of the Van Sant Church of Christ in Van Sant, Virginia.
Dear God, we thank you for both the host and the sponsor of tonight's race. And we pray that Food City and Bristol Motor Speedway will continue to be the shining lights in our communities. We also ask that you will protect each driver and their teams as they provide for us an evening of entertainment. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Mike. Please stand, remove your hats, and place your hand over your heart, and join us in singing the national anthem by all the King's men from the King College Choir Ensemble from Bristol, Tennessee.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red bombs bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
The scene that is Bristol, unique in all of NASCAR. Hang on, Brad, it's almost time.
If that doesn't light you fire, I don't know what will. I'm just telling you. My goodness. Let's do this. Let's do this thing.
250 laps of slam bang Bristol racing is about to begin. Don't go away. The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by Hankook Tires, Tame the Road, and by Carfax. The sounds of horsepower about to roar through Thunder Valley as ESPN's exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series comes to you from Bristol Motor Speedway in eastern Tennessee. The engines fire, the field rolls onto the high banks in just a few minutes. It can get kind of hot sometimes here in August. This isn't one of those days. It is perfect for racing here tonight. A great day for the tailgaters, a great day for the fans in the grandstands. Probably even be a good day for the drivers in the cars, you think? Let's go upstairs to the tallest perch in NASCAR, maybe a lot of sports venues. Somewhere way up there is Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, AB. Great job down there, guys. You know, counting tonight, just 10 races remain in the chase for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship, and the lead for Clint Bowyer is shrinking, folks. Just 113 points separate Bowyer from Carl Edwards. Brad Keselowski, the youngster, just 19 more points back in third spot, and, of course, 89 points lost the last 6 events by Clint Bowyer. Hello, everyone. Along with Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, I'm Jerry Punch. Welcome to bare knuckle, full contact stock car racing. Yeah, we call it Bristol, Tennessee. Glad to have you with us. And guys, if you're Clint Bowyer and you're starting to hear the footsteps, you know, in this points race, what is your mindset tonight?
Well, I say win. You know, that's all you can do is go out and win. That's how you get the most points. You don't worry about anything else. You just go win the race. And Clint Bowyer knows how to do that here. I think it's very important that they go be extremely fast all night long, do the right things, and that's how you get your job security, but also make sure that you're going to win this championship.
Well, for Clint Bowyer to win this race tonight, he's going to have to go through Carl Edwards to do it. And this race could likely come down to those two guys fighting for this win. So it's going to be exciting. These are the two best guys in the series. They're at the top of the point standings. And what better place to fight it out than here at Bristol?
You know, one of the big stories coming into the day, would the 18-year-old phenom, Joey Logano, how would he fare coming to Bristol in the first time in a NASCAR Nationwide car without his crew chief, car chief, and engine tuner who have been suspended?
Well, it didn't go very well in the beginning. Right here in qualifying, you see Joey Logano gets in the wall, tears the car up. They have to go to a backup car. It's going to be interesting to see just how much depth this team has. This is going to be a character-building race for this team, and they've got new guys in place. So this is going to be a defining moment for them. They've won a lot of races. They've been the top guy, the top car in the series. How they handle tonight is going to say a lot about where they're going from here.
Yeah, this young man's had a lot of hype, and we've talked a lot about him, getting him a lot of accolades. But you also know that it's going to be some difficult times in his career in working himself up through this series and then on into the Sprint Cup Series. So this is one of those nights when he's just going to have to bear down. He's working with different people, and I think it will probably affect him more than someone like Kyle Busch. But he's just going to have to dig in and give as much information back as he can and race as hard as he can.
Should be fun to watch. He'll start at the back of the pack in a backup car. But the feel-good story tonight, how about a 23-year-old from Mobile, Alabama, Cale Gale, picking up his very first pole in only his 12th start of the year. We'll get it going in Bristol when we come back. Drivers are buckled up, getting set for what should be a fun night here at Bristol Motor Speedway. What a difference a week makes. Last week, we were in the Irish Hills of Michigan, a wide, sweeping 2-mile oval. Look how long the front straightaway was. 18 degrees of banking. Of course, here tonight at Bristol, if you sneeze or hiccup, you're at the end of the straightaway. You don't have any time at all to think. 15-second laps. And we're going to have 250 of them coming your way tonight. Right now, let's go trackside to get the command to fire them up.
Race fans, the command to start the engine for tonight's Food City 250, the most famous words of motor racing by Paula Dean.
Drivers, y'all start your engine!
Bring them up, guys. All right, bud, fired up. I'll do my best out here. We'll keep this car good at the end of the race, and we'll do our best. Hopefully go for a win. Go win this thing. Oh, we're going to make it do what it do. Thanks.
.43 of NASCAR's finest sets a battle on the high banks here in Bristol, Tennessee. What a fun night for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. So much at stake, though, for that guy there in the point standings. Clint Bowyer, can he hang on? He is certainly right now in the catbird seat, and Carl Edwards moving in. Take a look at our starting grid. Cale Gale became the 15th different pole winner in 2008. He'll be flanked by Dario Franchitti. the Scotsman. And while you watch to see where your favorite driver started, let's visit with our in-race reporter, the driver of the Aaron's Dream Machine Toyota, David Ruderman, who starts back in 10th tonight.
David, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
I got you, DJ.
Hey, David, what are the key things you need to do tonight as a driver to win?
Man, I tell you, we're just starting out. I tell you, even before we get going here, DJ, I got to tell you, thoughts and prayers with Ken Butler and his family. He's, they going through a lot right now, and we really miss them, and been a very integral part of our program with Aaron's. But yeah, man, we just got to keep the fenders on this thing, race smart, keep her freed up a little bit, and then try to have a good finish at the end.
All right, David, our next question is from our ESPN mailbag. How hard is it to control your temper when something bad happens during a short track race?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's very difficult sometimes. I think it depends on who you are, and I think it also depends on maybe the guy that run into you. You got a guy that keeps doing it to you on a regular basis, you get really aggravated. But sometimes if a guy runs into you that doesn't normally do it, you just take it as it may be an accident. But it's still hard to keep your cool sometimes.
Thanks, David. Great answer. And now Andy's going to talk to Crew Chief Jerry Baxter.
And 10-4.
Hey, Jerry, it's Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Jerry, it's kind of a short race here, but things happen very fast. What are you guys going to do as far as strategy? Are you going to make this a one-stop race or possibly make more than one pit stop?
We're probably looking at making this thing on 2 stops, you know. Looking at the truck race the other night, I think that looked like a good move. Just want to make sure I stopped the second time early enough so I got time to get back to the front, you know.
Do you think the tires will hold up well enough to make it a one-stop race if somebody decides to do that?
Yeah, I believe they will. Don't know, you know, as far as drop-off goes, we'll have to see, you know, when somebody goes a lot of laps in a row. But, yeah, like David said, you know, we're really thinking about Ken Butler, his family, everybody, you know, we're really thinking about those folks which they're here tonight. So our team's really going to give it our best effort just to do everything we can to win this race for them.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jerry. You guys have good luck and keep that car out of trouble tonight.
All right, take care.
Jerry Baxter giving us a glimpse inside to their strategy here tonight at Bristol, and we will take you inside the beating and banging on the high banks of Bristol throughout the evening with 8 different high-definition onboard cameras. Now let's update some of the key challenges the teams will be facing tonight, both on and off the racetrack. First, here's Shannon Spake.
Yeah, Doc, here at Bristol Motor Speedway, what happens here on pit road can be just as critical as what happens on the racetrack. Pit road speed is 30 miles per hour, and drivers want to be really careful to nail that speed. If they go too fast, they'll get a pit road speeding penalty. If they go too slow, they could lose critical spots on pit road. Now, because this pit road is so small, every single mistake is magnified. So the error for margin is very, very small. Mike Massaro?
And executing pit stops is equally challenging here at Bristol. The pit stalls, as you can see, 28 feet in length, very tight in comparison to some of the other stalls at other tracks. For example, at Indianapolis, the stalls are 47 feet long, nearly twice the length of these stalls here. Lots of opportunity for error. You can easily get boxed in. You could slide through your pit box, or even worse, you could collide with another competitor. All of these mistakes very difficult to recover from here at the half-mile Bristol Motor Speedway. Jamie?
Well, Mike, because racing here at Bristol is a full contact sport, the crews behind the wall have to be extra prepared. Barabon tape, we have a bat right here, hammers, mallets, we even have saws. You know, it is full contact, and I think Brad Parrott, crew chief for Dario Franchitti, said it best. No matter what tools you have, there's no better power than our manpower. If we have deck lid or hood issues, you're going to see our men jumping on top of the cars, banging it out, getting it back straightened out. Of course, it's Bristol, right, Dave?
Absolutely, Jamie. And one more thing you have to be aware of here at Bristol is to be very sharp with your communication. Visual to verbal. What you see in your mind on your computer screen or from the spotter stand high above this track, you have to translate into verbal commands to your driver very succinctly, very quickly, because here you don't have time to listen for very long. Doc?
Thank you guys very much. A lot of things we'll be watching for tonight, and a unique racetrack. This is one of the only tracks, Andy, that has a pit road on both the front and back straightaway here. Pretty unique and a big challenge for the teams.
Yeah, these guys are going to have to, under caution, actually enter their pit stall. Even if they're on the front straightaway, they're going to enter the pit road on the back stretch and drive all the way around here and drive around on the apron and then over to their pit stalls on the front straightaway. Now, if they have to make a pit stop under green, they're able to come off straight off the racetrack. If they're pitted on the front stretch, they can come right down here, make their stop, and come right back out on the track. They do not have to make that long trip all the way around both pit roads.
Yeah, and the challenge that they have there with these drivers is under caution around the corners there. Cutting that too close, that really throws that time off. You have to really be careful there because so that you don't speed, because it's a place that a lot of guys get caught.
Yeah, it's not a speed thing, it's actually time. So if you cut that corner too short, you're actually cutting that time down, which shows a higher average speed. And that's one of the things that does get these guys sometimes here.
Very tight pit boxes. Got to be very careful on the RPMs, not the speed, because as you said, if you have to come in here, it is a long way back out. This is a 250-lap race on a half-mile racetrack, 133 miles. There's the pit window. You see the speed on pit road, 30 miles an hour. And the corners, remember just before this race a year ago, they changed the banking here. It's a transitional banking, they call it, from 26 to 30 degrees.
And that enhances that side-by-side racing that we're going to see tonight. We're going to see guys working the top side of the racetrack very effectively, and the guys are going to be able to run on the bottom. But it's going to be hard to complete passes for these guys on the bottom of the racetrack when you got a guy that's pretty good up on the outside.
Yeah, it's going to make it difficult, especially with these tapered spacers that these cars run. You have to get back in the gas extremely hard to try to make that pass. It's going to be an exciting night.
Lights shimmering off the concrete here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Flash cubes, 100,000 fans strong. This place will be sold out tomorrow night for the 53rd consecutive race. The glow off of Brad Daugherty's sport coat. Folks, it's all the color and pageantry of coming to Bristol, Tennessee. Glad to have you with us for NASCAR Nationwide Series action. Yeah, we call it full contact stock car racing. Should be a fun one to watch. Front row, the youngster Cale Gale and the former Indy 500 winner Dario Franchitti. Here they come for the green flag out of turn 4.
Cale Gale got a nice little jump there. I'm sure he was excited about his first pole to get out there, but I think Dario Franchitti just wanted to get down to the inside end.
Yeah, it looked like Dario just lagged back just a little bit. It worked out for both these guys because you see Cale Gale's got the lead. Dario was able to fall right into second spot, and these guys can kind of get on their agendas while these other guys are side by side behind them.
Cale Gale the leader. Franchitti. Battle is back in the pack. They are side by side. There's David Rudiman on the outside of our points leader, Clint Boyer.
They already had a little body slam, and Brian Vickers got into turn 3 a little bit hard and knocked David Rudiman up out of the groove for just a second.
Yeah, that is 8th, 9th, and 10th position there. There's a 60 car of Edwards in front of Scott Wimmer.
Working the inside of Elliott Sadler right here. We saw him working the outside lane and worked pretty effectively on the first couple of laps.
And right there was a perfect example of what's going to be difficult as we see Elliott Sadler up on the high side, Carl Edwards on the bottom, and that momentum is just carrying Elliott and keeping him in front of Carl right now.
That outside groove's very fast right now. You see Elliott's able to maintain a good lap time up there, and it makes it frustrating. It's got to be frustrating for these guys down on the inside when it looks like Carl's got a better car, but can't quite get this number 9 cleared.
It makes it just so difficult. You're wanting to go by him. You know that you're faster, but the more you run side by side, the more chances you know that you're going to have a chance to mess up and get into that car.
And while they're doing this, they're not losing any ground to the leaders. They're actually just maintaining their spot pretty well on the racetrack.
Carl Edwards takes the 5th spot away. Now behind this battle, we saw the 2-car moment ago really wiggling when he was trying to get back into throttle coming off the corner.
Yeah, we heard Clint Boyer say in the pre-race show that he wanted to get his car freed up. He thought that he was free today, and that was going to work well for him tonight. So I would look for that to come out as this racetrack cools down even more.
One thing about short track racing, though, is that you have to get a good bite up off the corner. Right there, you've got to get that thing really hooked up in the back, and sometimes you've got to give up a little bit of that turning in the middle of the corner to have that good drive off.
Up front, Cale Gale, the youngster who claimed his very first NASCAR Nationwide Series pole, has pulled away to about a 10-car length advantage over Dario Franchitti. Then Greg Biffle back in 3rd. David Strimming is 4th. Carl Edwards now moves into 5th position. And there is Strimming moving in on Biffle.
Somebody did check and make sure that Kevin Harvick didn't get in that 33 before this race, right? He's doing a great job.
It's just really hard to explain how important qualifying is here in track position, because if you can get out front and not have to fight these guys side by side back in the pack, you don't have to use a lot of car at this stage of the race. You can save a little bit and run good competitive lap times without a lot of pressure.
Looking out the back of Greg Biffle's car, David Stremme. He's still the primary focus of possibly a ride for 2009 in that vacated 12 car for Roger Penske. Still no decision yet from Roger Penske. Back up front, Cale Gale. Mike.
And to answer DJ's question, Doc, no, that's not Kevin Harvick in the 33. Indeed, it is Cale Gale. And this team has extremely high hopes for him. In fact, we spoke with team owner Delana Harvick earlier today. They want to have Cale in that car full time so badly, but unfortunately, they've been unable to sell him to sponsors. So he's got a 13-race schedule this year, and this is race 12, Dave.
Just before the start of the race, Dario Franchitti told me the first time I came here, I had to pull out my cell phone with a camera on it. I had to take pictures of this banking and text all my friends. It's an intimidating place, but I'm growing to like it.
How about that? Dario Franchitti has won the Indianapolis 500, but he wanted to take photos of Bristol to send his friends and say, folks, you're not going to believe where I am on a Friday night here in NASCAR. He was the pole sitter at Watkins Glen. Right now, he is running in second spot, chasing Cale Gale. Working lap 19 of the Food City 250 here at Bristol Motor Speedway, and we are under caution for the first time tonight. The 59 car, Marcus Ambrose, we were told on the radio a moment ago that he had lost power. The engine would not fire, and they're looking for a possible electrical problem. Now, when the caution came out, the leader slowed down. Watch Cale Gale coming out of turn 4. He's the leader. There's a 59 car. He had to go around. Now watch Franchitti, the 40 car.
He gets by this 33 car right here going in the corner. You can see the green light still on, so that's a pass for the lead, and then the caution comes out right after this. That's why you've got the 40 car up front right now.
Cale Gale had set on the pole and led the first 17 laps until that pass right there under caution. And speaking of Cale Gale, we were wondering if Kevin Harvick, who owns this car, was in the car, but he is not. He is actually a guest downstairs in our pit studio with Alan Bestwick.
Yeah, Doc, we can confirm Kevin Harvick's presence outside of the race car, although we're wondering why. Here's a guy who's won 4 times in the Nationwide Series here at this racetrack. You know he loves to race here. But tonight he's going to play the role of team owner, and he's also going to play the role of spokesman. More on that in just a minute. But Kevin Harvick is in our ESPN pit studio. How difficult for you not to be out there?
Well, it's not too difficult when the car's running up front. Cale's doing a great job. He's done a great job for the last few weeks, and got the cars running better for him. So just proud for everybody at Camping World and Ream to be a part of the program and running good.
And you were watching that replay as we get set to go back to green. You were watching that replay, and you said what?
I said, how did he get past?
That's it. Well, that's better than being wrecked.
That's right.
Get ready for the restart here as we go to lap 22. Franchitti and Gale heading a very long single file line of cars. Kevin, what advice you give that young man before the race started tonight?
Well, the biggest advice I gave him was, coming to the green flag, you just don't want to spin the tires while you're sitting on the pole and go to third or fourth right off the bat. So he did a great job on the start. And now we'll see how good his car is and what he's really made of here trying to get back by the 40.
This is such a difficult place to race under any circumstances for a young driver. How difficult to make him understand what Bristol's all about?
Well, the hard part about Bristol is not racing that scoring monitor in practice. You want to get your car so it feels right. And after you race here a few times, and Rusty can tell you this, you want your car to feel right. You know what it needs to feel like getting through the center of the corner and back in the throttle. It's got to be comfortable to run consistent laps, lap after lap. So if you can get that feel and not worry about the scoring monitor, your car's still got to be fast, but it's got to be consistent and comfortable to drive.
Got a couple things to talk to Kevin about as well here while we watch some of this racing. Doc, a little point leader battle, huh?
Indeed, AB. They're looking back at the 60 car of Carl Edwards. That's from Biffle. And you see the 2 car moving right in behind the 60. Remember the bad blood and the contact they've had twice this year where the 60 car has moved the 2. And now we'll see if the 2 will take the retaliation and move the 60.
Yeah, we've seen the 64 there also in the picture. He got into Clint Boyer just a second ago and got him a little loose. These guys are having a battle. Now they've run down this 60 car Carl Edwards. So you see all these cars are very, very close to each other.
Yeah, I don't think that's anything that Clint came in with the idea that he was going to go out there and take Carl out, but he's probably not going to use a lot of patience with him either. Dave?
And DJ, Carl can't go quite as fast as he wants to right now because his car is a little bit tight in the center. He's saying, I have to wait on the car in the center of the corner.
Back up front, the 40 car of Dario Franchitti, the leader. There's a 33 of Cale Gale. Now, during the caution a moment ago, we had 3 cars on and off pit road. It was Stephen Wallace, the 40 of Derek Cope, and the 20. There's the 20 car of Joey Logano. Remember, that's a backup car because he wrecked the primary car in qualifying, and he came on the pit road for 4 tires and some wedge. He said the car was just not handling. It was very, very tight.
Well, that was a little bit of a miscue on this team. They were pretty far back in the running. They'd gained some spots, but came in under caution and kind of misjudged when that green flag was going to come out. They actually came on pit road right in front of the leaders when they were taking the green. Shannon?
Yeah, as far as that car's concerned, of course, Joey Logano had made his way all the way up to 26 from the back of the field because he had to start in a backup car. I spoke with Joey before the race and asked him what his biggest concern was coming in, and of course having to start in the back. You know, he was all smiles, guys. He said, it's a backup car, but this is my Kentucky car. This is the winner, and he was very confident.
Well, it looks like he's got a good car, but that miscue, I mean, this is kind of some of the things that can hurt this team with a lot of these team members and crew chiefs not here and missing. You know, and it's just it just shows you how important those guys really are.
Perfect example, I think, Andy. But he has pulled away from our leader here, Dario Franchitti. Dario was only about 2 car lengths behind him when they threw the green flag and went through turns 1 and 2. But Joey Logano has moved past him. And the good thing for Joey is that there are 2 good racing crews out here right now so that he can go up through the pack.
One of the cars that we're going to watch for early on, and everyone's saying, what about Kyle Busch, who just dominated in the NASCAR truck race here on Wednesday night to pick up his 17th win of the year. He didn't qualify that well in the 18 car, starting back in 15th position, but he is moving. Jamie.
He certainly is moving. You know, this team is trying to make the best of a bad situation. Jason Ratcliffe, of course, suspended indefinitely, but on top of the pit box, Doug Hewitt working with Kyle for the first time. But alongside him to his left is Kyle's Cup crew chief, Steve Addington. Of course, they've won 8 times together this season, but Steve gets on the radio, especially under caution, talking to his driver, Kyle Busch, trying to help everybody keep their head in it and hopefully bring home a victory for the 18.
Yeah, Jamie, the 18 car of Kyle Busch there in the 2 car. He's losing more and more positions, and Kevin Harvick, our guest in the studio. Kevin, a 2-time nationwide champion. Kevin, you've been in a position with the 2 car of your teammate Clint Boyer trying to hold this point leads. How much pressure is he under here, particularly at a place like Bristol?
Well, we were fortunate to be in a position where, you know, the momentum that we had coming into the points battle, coming into Bristol, just seemed like it kept going. And it seemed like they kind of lost some of their momentum about halfway through the year, and Carl's has gained that momentum. So it's all about momentum. And I know a lot of people say, well, they're just cars or just this and just that. But if you don't have that momentum, it's easy. It's a lot easier to lose points than it is to gain them.
Psychology in this sport's a bigger deal than people give it credit for, huh?
Oh, absolutely. You know, if you think your car's not running as good as the guy you're racing with, or your car's running better than the guy you're racing with, it plays a pretty big factor of what you can make up and what you can't make up.
Just while we're talking about championship, we saw Carl and we saw Clint. Let's check on Brad Keselowski here for just a second. 88 car started way back in the field. And remember, he talked about the likelihood of a crash in the first 5 laps. Didn't happen, and then he missed when the 1 car slowed down there, when the 59 slowed down.
He was up on the wheel. He's done a great job of moving that car from the back of the pack up towards the middle. He missed the 1 instant when the 59 slowed down, so he's been lucky so far. It looks like he's got a good race car.
And this isn't the old Bristol. I mean, this is the new Bristol. I mean, there's not going to be near as many cautions as there used to be here. So, you know, I think we saw Johnny Benson in the truck race 2 years in a row put those tires on at the end and make some time on the outside. There's room to pass now.
Michael, you listening to what they're saying?
Yeah, I'm listening to what they're saying, and they're not really saying much. Brad pretty happy with his race car, but I just keep thinking about what Tony Uri told me earlier today. I asked him what makes a good driver here in Bristol, and he simply said patience. So I asked him, is Brad patient? He said, well, somewhat, but he's learning pretty fast, and he looks like he's been pretty patient tonight, Doc.
Indeed, he has been. Remember, back in the spring here, he started out of the top 10 and ran back in the top 5 for most of the night, ended up finishing 4th. So the young man has gotten the job done before here on the tight High Bank Bristol Motor Speedway. One of the big surprises in qualifying, and maybe one of the early surprises tonight, is Dario Franchitti. What a great job he has done here on a short track NASCAR style.
As always, a lot of motorsports on the ESPN networks over the weekend. Tomorrow, NASCAR Now pre-race edition, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Our coverage of the Sprint Cup Series race from Bristol, presented by Pennzoil Platinum, ESPN 7 Eastern. Immediately followed by the wrap-up edition of NASCAR Now, ESPN 2 after the race. And then Sunday, the IndyCar Grand Prix of Sonoma, ESPN 2, 5:30 Eastern Time. Dario Franchitti leading Cale Gale, Greg Biffle, Carl Edwards, and Elliott Sadler. Some pretty good racing going on here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Four-time Bristol winner Kevin Harvick is with us in our ESPN pit studio. Now, there's a reason he's also here. Kevin's been named a spokesman for Nationwide Insurance's new campaign called Switch and Save. The Switch and Save 500. You made an announcement about it here today, and we know you want to get back out to your pit box. So tell us about the promotion.
Yeah, the Switch and Save promotion has been great. We just shot a brand new commercial, and I think they pounded the 877 NW Series phone number into my head. So it's been a lot of fun, and you can win a trip to Las Vegas Motor Speedway and be in a free Camping World motorhome on all expenses paid weekend for somebody to win. So it's going to be a lot of fun to meet those people at the racetrack.
Get a couple $1,000s in spending money, some gift certificates, all kinds of things, and you get to hang out with Kevin a little bit too.
That's right.
And that should be fun. Kevin, we appreciate your time. I know you want to get out there and put on the radio and watch this race.
Yeah, I want to tell him to move up and drive around him.
We'll be listening for that.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Kevin Harvick watching his driver Cale Gale run second in that 33 car, Doc.
Alan, we are about to have a free-for-all at the front because they are reeling in Dario Franchitti, and Kevin Harvick is going to be hustling out to the pit box. Remember, Kevin, a four-time winner here. So who better to learn from for Cale Gale and the guy who's been awfully good and hard to beat here. Cale Gale moving in. So is the 16 car of Biffle, and behind Biffle, they're still mixing it up back there. Carl Edwards is there.
We're getting ready to have a 10-way fight for the lead, Doc. These guys are really getting on it, and they're using a lot of grooves right here.
It's been really interesting just to watch them. These guys, you've got guys running the bottom, we've got guys in the middle, and then people like Elliott Sadler all the way up against the walls we see here. Just a lot of different groups. This is what Bristol's about.
Who would have thunk 5 years ago you could run 3 wide in Bristol, Tennessee?
And here we have it right here. Look at this.
Elliott Sadler again in the 9 car. Strimmy the 64. Here comes your points leader. Clint Boyer in the 2. Oh, he backs out because they got to get around the 52 car. That's up on the high groove there, Brad T.
All this is going on. Dario Franchitti still leading the race. He's got the 33 car right on his bumper. But these guys right here are fighting to see who can be the first one up there to fight with them.
You got plenty of room behind you. If you're going to run the bottom, you need to be right on it. That black is where you're running. I see it right there. That black just don't seem to be getting it. There you go. Just keep rolling there. It'll be all right here in a minute. It'll come back. Okay, don't shoot through the center so fast there, bud. Let it roll a little bit more. You hit the gas early down there in 3.
Mike Dillon's giving some instructions right there to his driver. That's a spotter for Clint Boyer. The one thing you get here and the perspective that the spotters have is they can see this whole racetrack real good, and they can tell where these guys might be losing just a half a tenth or a little bit here and there, and they can help them a little bit.
Yeah, I just wonder if Clint still has his radio on after all of that. I don't know. That's a lot of information whenever you're going around here in less than 16 seconds.
How much did you want? Did you want to hear that kind of chatter, or do you just want to hear when I'm clear and when I'm not clear?
Yeah, here it's because things are happening so fast. You need to let that spotter be talking. But I don't, if they can give you some good information about maybe where the leader's running and you can change your line or search around. But that was a lot of information. I didn't want to hear quite that much myself. But it seems to be working. They're leading the points.
Yeah, and you know what? He was losing a lot of ground, and now he's starting to make up some ground. You can see he's racing some of these guys from these spots back that passed him. So, here's trying to run under Strimmy.
That's for 6th position. And Strimmy able to get him up off the corner.
Yeah, and what he's talking about, the black part of the racetrack, the center up about a groove and a half in the corners is starting to really take a lot of rubber as we've had the truck race and now this race and all the practice and qualifying today, and it's starting to change the racetrack. Mike?
Well, DJ, you mentioned the black on the racetrack. Well, that's something that Clint Boyer's crew chief Dan Daringhoff certainly noticed this afternoon. Spent a lot of time up on top of his hauler contemplating it. He said he has not seen the racetrack take rubber like this since they reconfigured it. And because of that, he anticipated this car getting real tight tonight so that they set it up pretty loose. But still, Clint pretty tight right now.
We mentioned that Clint's point margin in the Nationwide Series is shrinking. We asked him, what about the struggles in the Nextel in the Sprint Cup car? How's that affecting your nationwide effort?
It's been hard to, give all 100%. focus on that Nationwide car because of what's been going on in the Cup car. But we're getting all that behind us. We've been testing every week in the Cup car, and when you're running bad in one, it takes attention, takes the focus away from the other.
Got to have an effect on you. DJ, you were one of the very first drivers ever to run both series when you were running full-time in the Nationwide and Cup. Did one affect the other significantly?
Well, yeah, it certainly. If one wasn't going very good, then you could run well in the other, then that kept you up confidence-wise. But it's an awfully difficult thing. Denny Hamlin's another one of those guys that, even though he's not running both series, he runs a lot in this series, and he's having a great night tonight. He's come a long way. He's already made up 14 spots from where he qualified, and he runs this racetrack really well. But this is probably the most difficult weekend that these drivers face in trying to run these two races. Dave?
Hey, DJ, remember when Kyle Busch at Richmond in this 32 car had to start from 25th and ended up finishing 3rd? Well, it's a lot that way again for these guys this weekend. Crew chief Trent Owens told me, I hope we have the same result this weekend. We don't expect to get as many pit stops to work on this car, but they might not have to. He's driven all the way up here from 26th starting spot.
Battle for second position. Biffle getting a little racy there. And you heard Kevin Harvick say he was going to ask his driver, Cale Gale, to move up the racetrack. Looks like Cale has moved up, and that's opening it up the inside for the 16 car.
I don't think he had much choice but to move up when Greg Biffle stuck his nose in there, but that could help him find something a little bit there. You can see him come off the corner a lot better there and get a run on Dario Franchitti.
Check this race out right here for 4th spot.
Boy, Edwards and Boyer both coming. Whoa.
It's getting good here, boys. That's what you have to do all night. You're racing these guys, and the next thing you know, you've got a car that you're lapping right in your way, and you have to dodge him. One goes low, one goes high. Cale Gale's making a real run. I think he's found something when Greg Biffle got under him that's enabled him to go faster and now catch Dario Franchitti and try to take the lead.
Either that or Kevin Harvick got on the radio and said something.
I think Kevin got over there and said, hey, move up. Let's try it up there. It's working.
Dario Franchitti, folks, no, don't adjust your set at home. The guy who was very good as a road racer in open wheel competition, won the IRL title a year ago, is leading a NASCAR race at one of the toughest short tracks in America. Back in a moment.
Sports Center right now. I'm Steve Berthiaume. Chargers linebacker Sean Merriman tells the San Diego Union Tribune he has a torn cruciate ligament in his knee. However, Merriman told another newspaper he has a loose ligament. U.S. Olympic men's basketball team will play Spain in Sunday's gold medal game. The Americans beat Argentina Friday 101-81, led by Carmelo Anthony's 21 points. That's Sports Center right now. Next Sports Center after the race.
Breaking news at Bristol, one of the serious points contenders is in trouble. That's the 9-car of Elliott Sadler. There is the 60 car of Carl Edwards that has had hard contact with the concrete. Here's what happened.
These two guys racing hard side by side. You see how much difference there is in the groove, but they come together off the corner right here. Looks like that could have been a tire problem or something with the 60 car.
Definitely had to be a right front tire going down right there for that to happen. They were just racing. Jamie?
And Kyle Busch talking to the team, telling him what he needs to fix up. He said, we'll be just fine if we just take some wedge out of the right rear, make an air pressure adjustment, and 4 tires. Dave?
Dario Franchitti says the car is loosed in just a tick-tight center, loose off the corner. That'll be an air pressure adjustment. 4 tires on this race-leading car. Then he'll have to go around the far end of this racetrack, all the way down slowly pit road. Shannon?
Yeah, Dave, Greg Biffle wants his guys to check that right front fender, make sure there's no damage. They're going to give that just a little bit of a tug. It's 4 tires for Greg Biffle, a slight wedge adjustment, and some Sunoco fuel. Mike?
Cale Gale saying his car is getting a little bit light, a little bit tight toward the end of a run. Still, crew chief Rick Wren calling for no changes, just 4 tires and fuel on the 33, as the team now swinging around to the left side, looking to complete their stop. Pretty smooth, and they're away.
Every car on the racetrack was on pit road for this second caution flag, and there's the race off. Dario Franchitti, great pit work down there by Brad Parrott and company. And the big gainer there, Scott Wimmer, who won in Nashville driving the same car he won with in Nashville tonight. They gained 4 positions on the pit stop.
Well, there's a pain in my side, but I can trip.
Early on, lap 91 of 250 here in the Battle of Bristol. Under caution for the second time today. Dave?
Well, guys, apparently there was a melted bead on the right front tire of that race car. That is what sent it into the wall. Carl reporting something's definitely broken in the steering for sure. The crew will go to work. Remember, he had closed the gap tonight on Clint Boyer to 113 points coming in. This is going to set him back a bit.
Yeah, Dave, I saw the brake rotors on some of these cars glowing really, really red, more than I've ever seen at Bristol. These guys are using a lot of brake tonight.
Yeah, and I think that has a little bit to do with the tapered spacer. They have to drive them down in the corner so far and then have to get on the brake a little bit.
That's what causes those charcoal beads.
Very tight pit road here, and we told you the smallest pit boxes, or one of the smallest pit boxes on the entire circuit. Watch David Rudiman coming off. Here is Hamlin. Guys, who's crowding who here?
Yeah, if it's not narrow enough, Denny Hamlin really doesn't give a lot of room to Rudiman right here. He had a lot of room on the right side to give these guys, and this can actually put yourself in trouble. He could have been his fender or hurt his car some.
Under this caution, our lucky dog is the 27 car, that being driven tonight by Bernie Lamar. He's the first car lap down. He's the recipient of the Aaron's Lucky Dog Free Pass Award to get back on the lead lap. There are 30 cars on the lead lap as we head back to green flag racing once again. Dario Franchitti has led twice now for 75 laps.
See a battle shaping up for third here already. Clint Boyer had made his way back up into the top 5. As you see him take the spot from Greg Biffle right there, but he had really come on in the last part of that run, Andy.
Yeah, and I think that was really the report we heard about his crew chief. Setting that car up, looking at this racetrack and seeing the rubber and setting it up, knowing it's going to get tighter. I think that's one thing that's helping him. I think the track is very tight, and that's a little different on this new Bristol, different than we've seen.
We mentioned the driver who was third in points. That one right there, Brad Keselowski, started 37th, and he was going to make his way up through the field. He told Jamie Little, I got a better car than I showed in qualifying, and with a 60 car behind the wall, he has moved to second position.
And I'm impressed. That's a very impressive run to the front on a real difficult racetrack where you can get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, here's our points leader going by Cale Gale for that second spot. It looks like he has the car to beat here right now. I know that Dario Franchitti's been out front leading this, but I think Clint Boyer is going to be up there on his bumper and probably take this lead before very long.
If you just joined our coverage, we told you at the top of the show that Clint Boyer, that 2 car right there, is the points leader, but he's trying to stop the bleeding tonight. He has lost 89 points over the last 6 races, and he was only 113 points ahead. But this is probably or arguably his best racetrack, and as you said, DJ, he needs to win tonight.
Well, he needs to win, and now he can breathe a little bit easier. Not that he's not thinking about Brad Keselowski, but he knows that the 60 cars had trouble. He can go try to win this race, which is what he started out to do, but it looks like he has the car to do it.
Our Carfax telemetry, watch it just hammer that throttle. Let's see what kind of brake when he pops that brake on.
Yeah, they're using a lot of brake getting down in the corner and carry the brake on into the corner. Now you see him get back on the throttle. Had to pedal it a little bit right there.
Yeah, this is interesting watching Dario Franchitti up there. He's doing a terrific job here. You know, he doesn't have a lot of time on this racetrack, but this is very impressive what he's been able to do. Brad Parrott's giving him a really good race car tonight.
That caution flag was a huge break for the 20 car of Joey Logano. There's 20, the 20 Logano, the 18-year-old making his first start ever at Bristol in a nationwide car. Remember, he had made that pit stop and come out right in front of the leaders there on that first caution flag on lap 17.
He was able to, he has a great race car. He was able to stay out in front of the leaders for a lot of laps. And while these guys were lapping cars, he was able to stay out there and stay on the lead lap. Here's a great battle here with Kyle Busch and Greg Biffle.
That's 4th position. Remember, Busch started back middle of the packet. And again, these guys are 2 by 2, Rusty.
I tell you what, guys, the thing I like about this new racetrack right now, look at this side-by-side racing. The old track, it was the fastest around the very bottom. But I'm not so sure right now. I see that second lane really coming in. Remember now, this new racetrack has got more banking angle on the second and the third lane, so they're able to do that. They couldn't do it in the past.
Yeah, I think that's what's exciting about this place. It's just the opportunity. You know, as a driver, that you don't just have to go to the bottom. You can go around. If you see Kyle Busch trying to go around Greg Biffle here, makes that pass, and Brad Keselowski right behind him. He's up into the 6th spot now. Oh, Clint Boyer's on the bumper now.
Yeah, he's really putting the pressure on Dario.
Yeah, I think he's going to make short work of him right here. I believe that outside, he's going to drive right around him.
And he does. Wow. Boy, yeah, that was a great call. It was like Franchitti wasn't even there.
This is just very impressive. These guys started out with a plan tonight, and they seem like that they put that plan into place, and everything is going just perfect for them. This is the kind of race that they needed to have. We'll be back to Bristol in just a few minutes.
Bristol Motor Speedway and the Food City 250 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series at lap 115 of 250. Very quickly moving along. Just a couple of cautions in what is almost the first half of the race as we take a look at our Holiday Inn Express race summary. Leaders on the night, Dario Franchitti's led 87 of the 100 now, 15 laps completed. Cale Gale led 18, and Clint Bowyer, most recent leader, taking a lap at lap 106 and now out in front for these past 10 circuits around. It is Bowyer, Franchitti, Cale Gale, Kyle Busch, and Brad Keselowski, the top 5. Remember, Carl Edwards behind the wall getting his car repaired. He is back in 37th spot right now. Mentioned Kyle Busch up in 4th position today. There are the leaders of Joe Gibbs Racing. Coach Joe foreground, team president J.D. Gibbs, his son, in the background. J.D. appearing on our NASCAR Countdown earlier and talking about the difficult week that they've been through with the NASCAR penalties. Their crew chief suspended indefinitely. Both teams having to operate with new crew chiefs here tonight. Rusty, Brad, you're both team owners. The week that they've had as managers of a NASCAR racing team.
Well, it was just a real tough week for them. I mean, they don't want to be humiliated or called cheaters because they've got a rock solid race team, and a couple of crew guys just got a little aggressive because they want to win, and they got busted for it. But you know what? They're smart people that work themselves out of it.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, you know, the bottom line is running up front, winning races. And they need some good medicine coming out here tonight. They need an opportunity to win this race. If they do that, it puts everything behind them. Jamie, you have something to add?
And who better to put behind the wheel than Kyle Busch? As Doc mentioned earlier, he won the truck race Wednesday night, becoming the 3rd driver to ever win in all 3 series here at Bristol. Right now, he says the car is pretty good as he makes his way to the front, Doc.
Well, guys, lap 122, we are just 3 laps away from halfway point. We have had 2 cautions for 10 laps. There have been 4 lead changes among 3 different drivers, and Clint Bowyer, the guy who had to get it done tonight to be able to stop the hemorrhaging in terms of his point standings, has moved his way to the front of the field in the 2 car. Dario Franchitti continues to impress people with his short track prowess. There's Franchitti in the 40 car, the youngster Cale Gale behind him driving for Kevin Harvick. And how about this guy? We just continue to shake our heads and say the 88 car has come from 37th starting spot.
We heard him in the pre-race before they started that he felt like he had a car that could win, and it kind of sounded funny because he was starting so far back in the field. But when I saw that confidence, I thought, you know, he's got to have a pretty good race car. He knows what he's got here, and he's done a great job bringing it to the front.
Yeah, he was very confident in thinking that it wasn't going to be a big problem. He knew this racetrack was going to widen out and get a couple of grooves, and he's proven that you can do that. We see a battle here. You see Denny Hamlin, had made his way up for a while. He's up into 7th spot now as he battles with Jason Leffler here and David Stremme.
Looks like Stremme's going to use that 01 as a pick.
18 of Kyle Busch trying to move down on the inside. Again, that is 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on your screen as he nearly clips the 33 car. Thinks better of it. That's Kenny Wallace on the high side that Franchitti has to go under.
Our front rows, they've done a really good job here. I don't know how much patience Kyle Busch is going to show with Cale Gale right here. It's really hard to make that pass on the bottom. I think Kyle's going to do that here, but it shows just how difficult it is. You have to have a really good car. He looks like that he does have that now. They made a little adjustment on this car, and it seems to be to Kyle's liking.
That almost opened the door, Andy, for the 88, and Keselowski was pedaling hard to get there. Wow.
He sees, hey, man, you guys keep racing like that. I'm going to come up here and join the fight.
88 car trying to move in on 33. Again, that would be for 4th position. Typically, these teams make this race on 2 pit stops. Everyone came in on lap 89 if you're calculating pit stops at home. So if we stay green, that would put them 130 to 140 laps from lap 89. You can figure it out. We'll come back and set what's going on with Clint Bowyer at the front of the field in a moment. Tomorrow night, Thunder Valley will be packed to the gills, over 168,000 strong, the 53rd consecutive sellout, and we'll be here to bring the action to you. Carl Edwards will lead him down from the pole alongside David Rudiman. Jeff Gordon qualified third. Coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Bristol, presented by Pennzoil Platinum. Let's let Nationwide take you up to speed, beginning with our leader, Clint Boyer. Here's Mike.
Well, Doc, as we mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Clint Boyer's crew chief Dan Daringhoff anticipating the track being very tight. So we really loosened up the race car. We asked him how much. He said, well, just between you and I, a lot. But between me and the driver, just a little. Keeping some secrets from Clint Boyer, Jamie.
And behind him, Kyle Busch has worked his way from 15th up to 30. Says the car's just a little tight through the center. This is the workhorse. 46th race for this very car that Kyle Busch is in. He said he's got his sights set on Clint Boyer. Mike?
Brad Keselowski looking for a pretty good run, running inside the top 10 most of the night. Says the car is a little bit loose, but awesome in the center. He's pretty happy, Dave.
Dario Franchitti was your restart leader, is now falling back to fourth. He hasn't said anything on the radio. Key to him running well here tonight, experience. This is one of the few tracks where he's visited twice. This is his third race overall at this facility, Mike.
From the pit studio to the headset, Kevin Harvick now coaching his driver, Cale Gale. And Gale driving a terrific race, but Kevin Harvick guiding him, telling him which line to run. And right now doing pretty well. The only concern, brake rotor's starting to glow, Shannon.
Yeah, Mike, right behind him, running sixth, is your 2002 Nationwide champion, Greg Biffle. Now, he came into this race with a near identical setup to his teammate, Carl Edwards, but right now that car is so loose for Greg Biffle. He said he cannot take his hands off the wheel. He is searching for his first win this season. Now, right behind him is Jason Leffler. A great run for this team here tonight. He started 19th. He led 81 laps in this race last year, finished second. I asked Todd Losey, his crew chief, how they win here tonight. He said, we have got to hold our line. Last year, Casey Kane took it away from us. This year, we've got to stay strong.
Well, Shannon, the 64 team came into the weekend with a conventional setup. When it didn't work, they tried the coil bind, and magnificently, they gained 0.3 of a second per lap. The problem was they hit on this late in practice, didn't get much of a chance to work on long runs, so they're a little bit concerned if they get a long run like they're in the middle of right now, Dave.
Denny Hamlin's car was still just a little bit loose on that run. He was so loose in qualifying that he got two congratulations, one from his spotter, one from his crew chief, and then he said the car wasn't very good after that. They made an air pressure adjustment to try to bring it around a little bit more. We'll probably have one more pit stop to make this car exactly right for Denny. Jamie?
And Dave, right behind him, Scott Wimmer announced yesterday, on Thursday, he will not be back with Richard Childress Racing next season. That's because Casey Mears will be in a fourth car in the Cup side. But right now, Scott Wimmer doing his best to hang on to that car. He started fifth, currently 10th. Doc?
Thank you very much, guys. And again, the big story of the night, one of the heavyweights here in the series, reigning series champion and points contender, Carl Edwards, behind the wall, getting his car worked on. If you just joined our coverage, back on lap 87, he slammed the wall, had a bead in the right front tire go, and he hit it hard, and they're trying to get that car repaired to get him back on the racetrack, because this is the guy he'd be chasing in the points, the 2 car, who's also our leader here at Bristol right now. And of course, even at Bristol, you may not always be safe on the racetrack. Watch the 2 car here trying to thread his way through traffic.
Still there, still there, still there. See what you got. 3 wide. All right, still there.
It's tough being the leader here sometimes because these guys don't want to lay over for you. They don't want to go a lap down, and it makes it really hard for the leader sometimes to catch these guys and put them down a lap.
Sometimes, as amazing as it may sound, sometimes it's the hardest thing to do is you catch these guys. Again, like you say, like Landon Kessler here, he doesn't want to go a lap down, so he's going to run as hard as he possibly can just in case that caution comes out. It makes it very difficult for Clint right now to get things and keep things in order and not abuse his car.
20 cars on the lead lap, 96 laps to go. Clint Boyer trying to get win number 2. He has now led the last 50 laps in a row. Working lap 163 here at the Food City 250. NASCAR Nationwide Series racing at Bristol, Tennessee. Good crowd on hand tonight. Again, it'll be sold out here tomorrow night for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action. Clint Boyer came in with a 113-point lead, and now as the leader, He, as of right now, has a 157-point lead over the 88 car because the 60 car is behind the wall getting repaired. But guys, Boyer leads Kyle Busch right now on the racetrack. But behind Kyle Busch is the 88 car of Keselowski, and he has come all the way from the back of the pack and is still digging.
Now, he's still coming to the front. He made up a lot of ground, but they've caught a lot of lap cars right here, and it looks like these guys are just going to sort their way through this before they go back to battling for this spot.
Yeah, they're in a lot of lap traffic right here, and of course it's lap traffic that Clint Boyer's already had to deal with, but it makes it difficult for them to battle as they try to catch these guys and make sure that they don't get themselves in trouble.
They've lapped all the way up to 18th place, so there's some good cars that are going down the lap that don't want to go down, and that's why they're racing so hard.
Guys, even with 3 lanes here, sometimes at Bristol, even though it's a new racetrack, you've got to be aggressive and sometimes just get people out of the way. Let's show you Clint Boyer a moment ago in traffic, trying to get by the 31 car. That is former series champion Jeff Green, and a little bit of a nudge there.
Yeah, a little chrome horn saying, I'm trying to come through here.
How much do they have to be able to have bars to protect those when you do get a little bit of bumper? Now let's check down into our ESPN Tech Center and Tim Brewer.
Thanks, Jerry. Folks, look right here. The bumper bar height on this particular Nationwide car, it's pretty low. But what it does when you drive up under the back of a car, it actually lifts the car up. Now, tomorrow night, we're going to have the COT cars right here. And this is a deal to where the front bumper height and the rear bumper heights are all the same. So instead of lifting the car up, you actually hit them, you knock them forward.
Sort of like bumper cars at the carnival, I guess, the COT cars. And there's this guy here he's not having fun. He's had some pretty good look at the bumper bars, or what's left of the bumper bars on the 60 car.
I used to really brace up the front ends of the cars for Dale Earnhardt Sr. When we came up here, that right front corner, I would put an extra brace or two because I knew
you
we were going to use that baby. Yeah, he wouldn't let somebody hold him up too long.
He wouldn't lean on somebody with the fender, would he?
He might rattle her cage a little bit.
Battle back for 14th position. Mike Bliss has it. Jason Keller in the 11 car. There's a look back at Jason in his Chevrolet.
Yeah, 2 really good short track racers that have made some adjustments on their pit stops and are coming more back towards the front. They struggled a little bit in that first long run, but seem to be a lot better in this one. Jamie?
I talked to Mike Bliss earlier, guys. He was cracking up in practice because his entire team is trying to help Sterling Marlin make the Cup race for tomorrow. Mike Bliss said he had to be his own crew chief. He actually made his own adjustments. He adjusted the right rear spring, and he also adjusted the track bar. He said, so tonight, you know I won't be complaining about that spring or track bar adjustment.
Okay, here's the 88 car. Now that you've caught Kyle Busch, what are you going to do with him?
Well, they got a problem here. This 22 car of Andrew Ranger and Mike Wallace are racing for position a lap down, and these 2 guys are on the lead lap running for second spot, and neither one of them want to give.
Yeah, but a pretty impressive first run for Andrew Ranger there. His first time ever to Bristol in one of these cars.
That's very impressive, and he just now has gone down a lap, so he's done a great job. Running 23rd.
He's in the 22 car. He's a 21-year-old from Quebec. He is the reigning NASCAR Canadian Tire Series champion. Imagine your first NASCAR oval track race. They say, you're going to a place called Bristol.
Here he is running wheel to wheel with Kyle Busch.
And the 60 car, we told you that he had damage, was behind the wall. Here on lap 177, he has rolled back onto the racetrack. And Dave, what about the repairs they've had to make?
Let's check in with crew chief Drew Blickensderfer. What did you have to replace, Drew? And give us your thoughts on giving some points back tonight.
Yeah, I didn't hear exactly what you said, Dave, but we melted a beat on the right front. Goodyear said it's kind of a freak deal. It's pretty disappointing. We're probably 60 laps down right now. Everything looked good in practice, and everything was going good during the race. We were tick tight, which probably exaggerated that issue, but we'll see if we can make some points up here. If people go out right now, we can get them back. So we'll just have to go next week and go even harder.
You didn't detect any excessive brake heat in practice?
No, we didn't have any brake heat in practice. He said it's hardly using the brakes. He's floating it in there. So you don't use the brakes real aggressively here. I think the car's handling pretty good, and I think we were. So it's kind of a freak deal. We'll look hard at it and make sure it doesn't happen again.
Thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. Guys.
He's done a great job getting this car fixed. Carl Edwards is out there running about 3/10 faster than the leader. I know he has new tires on when he came out, but guys did a good job getting it fixed. Here's Clint Boyer now putting another lap on this 81 car and catching. This is Stephen Wallace there in the 66 car. and he is running 16th spot. He's the last guy on the lead lap.
Steven did a nice job. He pitted on that first caution flag, lap 17, came out in front of the leaders and was able to stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, he would like to see a caution right now as long as it's not him, but he's doing a really, really good job. He was back in the back of the pack and has kept himself on the lead lap.
The 2-car, Clint Boyer is leading. Carl Edwards back out on the racetrack, by the way, 85 laps down, being shown in 37th position. Under caution at Bristol, Tennessee for the third time tonight, coming out of lap 186. We are working lap 188 right now, and the leaders should be coming on for what would be their final pit stop. Jamie.
Kyle Busch making the call. He says he wants just a half round up on the track bar. He doesn't want to be wrecking, and they're going to put 4 tires in Sunoco fuel for the 18. They think it's the last stop of the night. Dave?
You know, Franchitti gives up 4th position, a little bit tight, air in the right rear, and only 1 can of fuel to keep some nose weight on the car.
Yeah, guys, Greg Biffle currently running 6th. He's going to take 2 tires for this number 16 team. They just need to be tightened up just a little bit. We see pit strategy taking place. Mike.
The leader, Clint Boyer, on pit road. He's real happy with his race car. No changes, just 4 tires and fuel on the 2.
88 car, Keselowski down, and he will get his 4 tires. And by virtue of the 2-star tire stop, Biffle will gain 4 positions, but Boyer got all 4 tires, and he will continue to hold the lead. Kyle Busch back a couple of spots. Franchitti lost 2 spots. You're wondering why we are under caution here. The 52 car, Brad Teague, who is from this area, former winner at Martinsville, gets up in the Jimmy Means car and just scrapes the concrete.
You can't tell whether he may have had a little problem, but he gets up too high there, and he actually hits it again right here, and does some more damage. Oh, the 18 car missed the lug nut and is going to have to come back in.
And get it.
That's going to be costly. You guys change the left side tires right here. Well, you see the lug nut just fly off of there. Jamie?
And they missed it twice, Andy, so we had to come back in about a 2-second stop to fix that and get that lug nut back on there. Costly mistake on this crew's part. You see the frustration there. Kyle Busch was second, guys. He was ready to run Clint Boyer down.
Seen a couple of miscues on this team, the 18 and the 20. Missing their key guys down there on pit road. You got to think that just those little details sometimes can bite you.
Yeah, I was noticing on their stop when we were originally watching it that the right rear was having a little bit of problem. He was slow getting back around, and then it eventually ended up the left front was the problem.
He came in second. There's Steve Addington, who is the Cup Series crew chief for Kyle Busch, trying to talk to the tire changer and find out exactly what happened so they can learn, and this has got to be very frustrating.
You know, Doc, I was down today. I spent some time with Doug Hewitt, who's stepping in as crew chief, and he was really, really nervous. He said this is a tough opportunity, but it's a good one. But he feels a lot of pressure stepping in on this 18 car with Kyle Busch. They've had so much success with everything that's going on this week at JGR. He feels like they have to have a great run. So he said, he's working back at the shop now. He never comes to the racetrack, and everybody on this entire team feels a ton of pressure to perform tonight, and you can see it right there.
The crew chief, car chief, and engine tuner for the 18 and 20 again suspended because of the violation of rules in the post-race inspection a week ago at Michigan, so they are without some of their leadership. That's why you see Steve Addington there from the Cup side over there helping out along the 18 car.
Well, one of the things, the lug nut itself was going to cause them to lose some spots because of the pit stop, but the communication is a factor here too, because they really needed to stay just another split second to get that lug nut on, and they wouldn't have lost but 3 or 4 spots. Now they go to the tail end of the lead lap, which is going to be about 17th place. See right here, they were still trying to get the lug nut on, and I'm sure that these guys, just a little miscommunication, if they could have kept him there just a split second longer.
You don't know if Jason Ratcliffe would have been the guy, the veteran crew chief would have said, whoa, 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 and held him, but you just don't know. There's the 47 car, our lucky dog, Kelly Byers, the Aaron's Lucky Dog free pass winner under caution. He was the first car a lap down. He will get back on the lead lap. Now we have 17 cars on the lead lap, and Kyle Busch, by virtue of having to pit twice, is the 17th and final car on the lead lap. 58 laps to go. Boyer the leader. Kyle Busch has a long way to go in a short time on a short track to get there.
Well, I'm pretty sure that took away Kyle's chances of winning this race. And Steve Addington's not going to be happy. His driver's back there and probably not very happy. So, you know, he's wanting to have a good mind for tomorrow night. But we're going to have a race up front. Greg Biffle got 2 tires. Clint Boyer looks like he has the best car. But Brad Keselowski has been flying. He's moved up 34 spots since this race started.
Kind of wondering how this 2-tire deal is going to work. Biffle got a good start here. Looks like it's working good so far.
That's not something you typically see here, is it, Andy?
No, it isn't, but we've seen how hard it is to get this track position. These guys are racing each other so hard to get it, and this was a good chance to steal a few spots and see how it'll work.
Someone forgot to tell Kyle Busch, by the way, that he may be out of it because he is just taking the car and sailing, trying to catch. There is the 18 car. Now he sailed by 3 cars a moment ago in 1 turn and 2 more in the next turn.
He's never out of it. As long as he's got 4 tires turning, he's never out of it.
Yeah, he's got a tall order there. I know he's got a fast race car and a lot of talent, but that's a pretty tall order, especially when you have Clint Boyer up front. You know, our guy that sat on the pole, Dario Franchitti, started second on the outside and has done just a really good job all night. But he's got his hands full. This is really probably the hardest he's had to race on one of these restarts now.
Yeah, lost a couple spots on pit road, and now he's gained one of them back. He's running 5th.
That's Scott Wimmer, the 29 car behind him, a veteran short track racer from Wisconsin. Here comes the 18 going by Stephen Wallace up behind Mike Bliss. And now Kyle Busch is all the way up to, he'll be taking the 14th spot away if he can get around Bliss.
I don't believe I'd want to hold him up too many laps here. He's not going to have a lot of patience after this.
They got Rowdy Busch a little fired up there with that lost lug nut. He said, I'm going for the sweep. He won the NASCAR truck race here Wednesday night, wanted to win this one tonight, and of course the Cup race here tomorrow night.
If I felt like I could stay in front of this 18 car, I would race him hard. But if I saw him coming pretty quick, I'd get out of the way. He's going to pass you one way or the other.
There we had a shot of Stephen Wallace, who did stay on the lead lap a while ago before that caution came out. So he's trying to make his way back up through the pack as he runs in the 15th spot right now.
If he can keep pace with Kyle Busch, Kyle will open the doors up and he can just go right with him.
He goes by the 31, trying to get underneath the 5 of Landon Castle. There is Kyle Busch on the back straightaway. You see there comes the leader. That is Clint Boyer. A little over half a lap.
Yeah, but Clint Boyer's not concerned with Kyle Busch right now. What he's concerned with is Brad Keselowski, who he can see in his mirror.
Boyer is the leader of the race. Keselowski is second. Boyer is the points leader. Keselowski is second. It could get very interesting these final 46 laps. David Reagan has spun here at Bristol on pit road now. He has brought out caution number 4 here with less than 45 laps to go. Top of the screen, there's the 6 car.
Yeah, just got a little bit loose coming off of turn 4 down on that bottom. That bottom groove just seems to be a little bit on the free side in.
Yeah, and he's just going to keep it out of the wall, but he gets it right there and does a little damage to the front end.
The 18 car, remember we showed you the margin was about a little over half a lap. He was passing some of the lap cars trying to get up to the cars on the lead lap. Now with the yellow flag, he is there. Let's listen in.
Last year we did put on a show to get back to 3rd or 4th or whatever. Let's just see what we can do here. Have a little fun with it, I guess. I could actually pass last year. In case you haven't noticed, we're all kind of stuck here. Yeah, 10-4, dude. They pay me to be positive.
I think what he's saying is it's a little harder to pass this year, and I think that spacer plate has something to do with that, and it makes it even more difficult. These cars are all running closer lap times and speeds on the racetrack.
Yeah, it does. You know, anytime you take power away from the cars, it seems to really tighten the field up.
The spacer plate began at the beginning of the year with about 80 horsepower loss from these cars from what they had a year ago. Working caution for the fourth time tonight here in Bristol, Tennessee. And boy, this should get very interesting up front because Clint Boyer has had a very good car, but now the 88 will pull right up on his bumper. Brad Keselowski, Greg Biffle is there. Cale Gill. How about Dario Franchitti? Right now, he would equal his career best finish. That came at Watkins Glen, but he may have something for these guys.
He's going for more right here on the restart. He's not satisfied with fourth. That's 4 guys, or fifth. He's got 4 guys in front of him. He wants to pass.
Boyer got a really good start there, but Brad Keselowski's hanging right with him. Biffle on those 2 tires.
I think he knows he needed to get a good restart here because that 88 car is going to be stalking him, and he's going to have to really be on his game.
Brad Keselowski trying to reel in the veteran Clint Boyer. We asked Clint Boyer about his thoughts on Brad Keselowski.
Brad's doing an awesome job in the 88 car. I think everybody should be proud of the job that they're all doing, but you know, him in particular is doing a good job. To be honest with you, I thought he would be a one that would make mistakes and wouldn't be consistent, and that's the very thing that he's had, is consistency.
He has been the most consistent driver in the points race the last 7 or 8 events, and he has actually gained more points than anyone at the front of the field, including Clint Boyer or Carl Edwards. 1-2 here. Boyer, Keselowski, Biffle. Cale Gale is 4th, the pole sitter. And there is the 40 car of Dario Franchitti in 5th position. Let's listen into Dario Franchitti's radio.
What's your temperature's been running? 210, 250. 10-4, man. Great job, man. You got 44 laps left in your dream race. 4 more cars in front of you to go get. Are you having fun? A big 10-4 on that. Yeah, this is it's good fun. Let's see if we can finish out here.
That's the crew chief, Brad Parrott, and what a cheerleader, and how encouraging. Brad said, I know this driver can get it done. There were people who questioned whether Dario could make the transition from open wheel to stock car racing after the pole at Watkins Glen, and tonight, I believe he's made believers of a lot of people.
Yeah, I know Brad Parrott believes in this driver, and he's having fun. Talk about fun. Here's the 18 and 20 racing for position. Whoa! Mike Wallace.
Denny Hamlin, the 32 in the back of Wallace.
We got turns.
Mike had been holding up a lot of these lap cars, and they've been struggling to get around him.
Stop right there.
This is the chance you take if you hold those guys up.
That's something that's always been things that happen here at Bristol, and even though the racetrack's changed somewhat, that part of it hasn't.
Yeah, too bad for Denny Hamlin, that 32 car. They got some damage out of that.
Mike Wallace trying to stay in the top 10. He was 8th in the point standings and running for the full tour, as Denny Hamlin is a part-timer here in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Mike trying to limp that damaged Toyota back to pit road. Speaking of damaged Toyotas, there's a 32 car of Denny Hamlin. He will head to the garage area. Here's the contact. Oh, the 7 car already sideways.
Yeah, that was just a situation that Mike Wallace got a little bit loose coming off the corner. Denny Hamlin was wide open in the throttle and really nowhere to go because there was someone on the outside.
That's a tough break. He's effectively done for the night right there.
And I'm sure people will say, well, why didn't he just back out of the gas and get on the brake? Well, yeah, I'm sure that he was both of those, but it just doesn't. Things happen so quickly.
Caution is...
Mike Wallace's onboard camera, trying to save it.
32.
Yeah, they can't really blame the 32 car there. I mean, again, Mike had already gotten loose, and
yeah, he was just racing. Those guys were on the lead lap trying to get around him, and you know, he's got his car loose up underneath one of those lead lap cars.
The 18 and 20 were right behind this mess, and now Logano.
He had driven into the top 10. He comes down pit road to get this damage fixed.
First time at Bristol. He ran a Pro Cup race here in 2005, but had never been here in a NASCAR stock car. And there's Denny Hamlin. His frustrations at Michigan last week with 5 laps to go, lost an engine in the Sprint Cup car, got out and was very upset because of losing valuable points. And the possible chase here is Joey Logano, the 18-year-old phenom who won in his 3rd ever start at Kentucky Speedway. And minor adjustments there with the 5-pound sledgehammer on the left front fender to try to get it beaten back out and get Logano back on the racetrack. Back at Bristol, Denny Hamlin climbing out of his damaged car, and there's the damaged Toyota involved in the latest incident, bringing out caution number 5 after the 7 car got sideways and there was contact with the 7 and 32. Here's the restart. Clint Bowyer, Brad Keselowski, and this time Keselowski doesn't let Bowyer get away.
No, but Bowyer's fast off of that corner there. He really gets through there. It looks like he really has his tires cleaned up, but Brad Keselowski's hanging right with him.
18 car of Kyle Busch now a little bit back in traffic, but he is hustling. That's for position. Right now he's in 10th spot.
Yeah, he's kind of got himself trapped down there on the bottom. There's going to be lap cars down there. That's going to make it more difficult. We got to change here for the lead.
Up front, the 2 car up across the racetrack coming out of turn 2, and the 88 goes by and takes the lead with 24 laps to go.
What a run this 88 car's had. From 37th to the lead.
They were in turns 1 and 2 here just a moment ago. Now watch the 2 car in the middle of turns 1 and 2.
Oh, man, that's a good save, actually.
Yeah. Got back to the gas hard, trying to get that run.
How much is that him looking in the mirror, seeing that 88?
I'm sure that he knew that he was right there. What do you think, Mike?
Well, yeah, I mean, he could see him coming. Brad's been almost equal to Clint over the last run or so. The coaching, though, that's been going on since then has been very positive. Mike Dillon on the radio trying to tell Clint, hey, be patient. There's still plenty of racing to go. We can catch him.
Well, we'll see if he's got time to catch him. 21 laps, he's reeling in. While we watch this, let's check in where Dave is caught up with Denny Hamlin.
Denny, describe the incident between you and the 7 car.
I think it was 7 and 38 were racing each other pretty hard, and I don't know if 7 was on the lead lap or not, but those 2 got kind of jumbled up off of 4, and I had no choice but to hit 7, and when I did, somebody hit me from behind. So it's a tough day, but I think everyone's out in general, Toyota, and giving me this opportunity. I set this race out last year, and glad to be at least back in it this year.
They started deep in the field today, guys, and worked their way up before that.
2 car trying to run in the 88 car. And folks, if you just joined our coverage, I know we've said it a couple times, the 88 car started back in 37th position. Here is a battle for position. David Strimmy now trying to move in on 5th place and take it away from Dario Franchitti.
Yeah, Franchitti's had a really hard time getting around Andrew Ranger here. He's not holding him up. He's doing everything he's supposed to do, but Dario just can't get the bite off the bottom of the racetrack to get around him.
And the 64 car looks really good this run. I watched him just before that last car. Whoa, got a little trouble here. Andrew Ranger's done a really good job of being competitive, but getting down that point of the race that he might want to yield to these guys if he wants to finish this race with all the fenders on it.
Yeah, and this is where experience in this series comes into play. He doesn't understand all of that. You don't want him just to pull over, but he doesn't need to be holding these guys up either at the same time.
Yeah, these guys are looking at the scoreboard. It's 15 laps to go. Uh-oh, got a tire rub on this 20 car of Joey Logano.
Logano on the lead lap in 16th position.
I've been smoking a little bit.
That's more than a little bit. That's a pretty good tire rub.
Let's try to route it out here. 14 to go.
A lot of smoke coming out of Joey Logano here. Left front fender after the contact. They tried to beat it out and pull it out. Here's a contact with a 31 car. This is again after the oh, there's the right rear fender.
It peels the back bumper off of Jeff Green's car. They already had damage on the left front fender. They just pitted to fix it and then got some more damage here.
31, we are told, will be black flagged by NASCAR to come in and fix that rear bumper cover. 18 car, Kyle Busch now up to 8th position. He is back behind. He's got to get by Rudeman and Wimmer. Those are the next 2 candidates. There's the 99 of Rudeman.
No, we just showed that 40 car. He got kind of held up behind the 22 car of Andrew Ranger, and lost a couple of spots to these guys.
Yeah.
Davis Stremme and now this 18 car.
Yeah, Scott Wimmer got by him, so the 99, so he fell back quite a bit. He just got trapped, and the guys went by him on the high side.
Stephen Wallace and Sam Hornish Jr. have been just thrashing here for position. Now, both these guys are on the lead lap. Hornish was the lucky dog, the Aries lucky dog in the previous caution flag.
Oh, 3 wide now.
Uh-oh.
This could get interesting.
Something got to give right here.
Landon Castle up high. Here's Hornish on the inside trying to get by.
Hornish has done a great job tonight. This is very impressive. He doesn't have a lot of time and laps here, and he's made a great run all night long. He's got himself up to 12th spot now.
Now here's what happened just about 3 laps ago.
Whoa, Sam gets really loose. Good save.
And for him to come back from that slide and drive back up there and catch Stephen Wallace and make the pass is pretty impressive. There is Kyle Busch taking another spot away. He is now in the 7th position. 6 laps to go.
He's got still some more work to do here. I don't know if he's going to get there. 6 laps goes by pretty quick. Mike?
Well, you can take a look up on top of the pit box at the 88. That's Brad Keselowski's mom. Might be his good luck charm. The only other race he's been to this year, Nashville. Keselowski went to victory lane that night, too.
I'm getting her season passes, Mike.
Got that right. Yeah, I'm getting her a plane ticket everywhere she wants to go.
I remember Kay was in Nashville, his 49th career start, and she celebrated just like that when she saw her son realize a dream by becoming a NASCAR winner. In the NASCAR Nationwide Series, could he get his first win at Bristol tonight? Now, here is a couple of open wheel aces. Former Indy 500 winners, Sam Hornish in the 12 car driving by Dario Franchitti, and that is for position. That's for 11th spot.
And one of the things that Sam Hornish has here, when he got the lucky dog, he was able to come back in and get tires, and that's helping him right now.
See a little smoke out of that 38 car just ahead of Sam. 2 laps to go.
Only 4 times in the history of nationwide racing, 52 races, has this race been won from a starting spot outside the top 20. Folks, that 88 car tonight started in 37th position. White flag for Brad Keselowski, and he will drive it into the corner. Keselowski will come down and take the checkered flag as a 2-time winner in 2008. What a job for the 24-year-old from Michigan.
You guys are awesome. Man, awesome.
We've got action off of 4 here. Sam Hornish getting in the back of the 38 car. Mike Bliss just sliding by them. They race all the way to the finish, don't 250 laps. That's how far we're going to race. What a great job. Sam Hornish did a great job. Obviously, they're not going to be too pleased about that. But Brad Keselowski, how impressive was that? We've talked about how impressive he's been all year, but this might be one of the most impressive things we've seen all year.
My life. Great job, guys.
He is a championship contender now. Bona fide. Shannon?
Yeah, I think the only person happier than Brad Keselowski right now is, of course, his crew chief, Tony Uri Sr. Walk me through those last couple laps, knowing that you had the lead and that you could take the win here.
Well, we were discussing under that last caution whether we could beat Clint or not. Clint looked like he was faster there for 3 or 4 laps, then it kind of evened out. We didn't know whether we was going to beat him or not. So
we have a victory celebration going on down here.
Yeah. If he hadn't slipped over, I don't know whether we'd ever got by or not. Those 2 cars is pretty equal, but thanks to the Navy for everything they do for junior motorsports. And hey, how about these Navy guys, man? That's 2 this year. That's pretty good. Hope Junior's happy.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. You go enjoy the celebration, Pops.
Tony Uri Sr., we called him Pops. He led Dale Earnhardt Jr. to 2, in fact, back-to-back NASCAR Nationwide Series titles. And now he gets win number 2 for Brad Keselowski, and he moves in even closer on that points chase. There's the 12 car, what's left of the 12 car for Sam Hornish, and he was hustling that Dodge on the final laps. Let's show you what happened to Sam here on the final turns.
You'd seen that 38 car struggling. He had some smoke coming out. Don't know if he had a tire rub. What was going on? Yeah, you see right here, had a problem right there with the tire going down. Sam nowhere to go. Still got a race, though, trying to race to the line. The caution's not out. And he just looks like he gets by the 38 car at the line.
Yeah, Sam was actually running in 9th position, but by virtue of that body slam into the wall, he will be credited with finishing 14th. Back with Victory Lane in a moment. The 88 car burning rubber up in victory lane. He burned it all night long on the high banks in Bristol, Tennessee. From 37 starting spot all the way to the front. Had to run down some really good cars. And there's the co-owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr., hugging the crew chief that led him to 2 championships, Tony Pops Uri Sr. Car, of course, also co-owned by Rick Hendrick. And now down in victory lane, let's go down to Mike.
And the fireworks are blasting, the Gatorade is flowing, and Brad Keselowski is celebrating with the Navy team. His 2nd career win, his 1st here in Bristol, and what a big win it was. To win, you also had to beat the guy you're chasing in the championship. There was a bobble there. When he slipped, when Clint slipped, what were your thoughts?
We got him. Yeah, I knew we were dead equal, Clint and I, and I needed to catch a break, and he gave it to me, and I'm very thankful for that. Thank you. But we know to win the championship, we got to win races, and that's what we did today, and that's what we got to do every week. We got to run up front and have a shot to win races, and if we keep knocking that out, we'll get this U.S. Navy Chevrolet not only with more Victor Circle trophies, but championship one.
A guy who's nearly as excited as you is your car owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. I saw him lean in the window and say something to you. What'd he say?
You know, Victor Lane, Bristol. It gets no better than that, man. I dreamed about this on Thursday and came and watched the truck race on Wednesday and told everybody in the Chevrolet suite that I could get it done. So, guys up there in the Chevy suite, this one's for you.
This morning, your crew chief, Tony Uri, said to win here, you need to be patient. How patient did you need to be tonight?
Extremely patient. Things just came to us if we let them. And if I would have forced some things I struggled with the 99, passing him for a while. And, you know, we just had to stay patient, stay patient. We knew we were fast. Just had to be smart.
Brad Keselowski picking up his 2nd career win, Doc.
He was chasing down the 2 car of Clint Boyer, and the slip that Mike was referring to came off of turn 2.
Sometimes you need a break. And, you know, if you create your own brakes, he had to be in position for this. And right here.
Well, he had passed 35 other cars to get to that point, so he'd done a great job, obviously. Clint Boyer looked like he tried to get back to the gas a little too hard right there. His car just wouldn't hold that, and Brad Keselowski was there. Winning at Bristol, nothing better.
Point standings now with 9 events to go. 122-point margin between Clint Boyer and Brad Keselowski. How about the fact that Brad Keselowski started 37th and won the race, and the driver that was 2nd in the points, Carl Edwards, finished 37th tonight. He will lose a spot. You see David Rudiman, Mike Bliss, Rudiman up a position, Bliss back 1 spot. Oh, there is Mom giving her son a hug. Kay Keselowski says, yes, the dreams do come true.
Sports Center right now, I'm Steve Berthiaume. Chargers linebacker Sean Merriman tells the San Diego Union Tribune he has a torn cruciate ligament in his knee. However, Merriman told another newspaper he has a loose ligament. U.S. Olympic men's basketball team will play Spain in Sunday's gold medal game. The Americans beat Argentina Friday 101-81, led by Carmelo Anthony's 21 points. That's Sports Center right now. Next Sports Center after the race.
The Food City 250 is history, and welcome to the big time. Brad Keselowski, if there were any doubters out there who said, can this kid make it in big time NASCAR stock car racing? Maybe the win at Nashville was a fluke, but not tonight, folks. At Bristol, Tennessee, from the back to the front. Young drivers impressing a lot of people here, Brad Keselowski. And what about Cale Gale, who sat on the pole for the first time in his career and ran in the top 5 and finished 4th? Shannon.
Well, down here with your pole sitter, Cale Gale, I've got to ask you, walk me through that first lap as you brought everyone to green today.
It was awesome. I mean, we unloaded really good off the truck. Our Campbell World Chevrolet's been really good, and we've been running good here lately. Just got to finish the show for it this tonight at Bristol. You can't beat that. It's a good old short track, and kind of reminds me of what I grew up racing. It was a lot of fun.
What has happened with this team over the past couple weeks? You feel like you guys have turned a corner. Where have you improved most?
I mean, I just think we were missing it just a little bit. I mean, we've made a few changes here and there, but it's not like we built new cars or anything. We just change things up. I think we've been getting them tuned in at the racetrack really good, and qualifying good helps. I mean, we've qualified good the last 3 races I've run and run towards the front for the most part, so I think that's a lot of it.
All right, great day for Cale Gale. He finishes 4th here at Bristol.
And Kyle Busch, what a night for him. He rallied back to finish 7th. Kyle, you were really positive on the radio. You said that's why you get paid. You guys were working together to stay positive, but how are you feeling after the mistake on pit road?
I mean, it's frustrating, but everybody else on this team's frustrated too, so you can't kick them down too bad. We just got to keep digging, and tomorrow's a bigger day. These guys are the same guys for tomorrow, so rather have it today than tomorrow, and you know, all we can do is try to take our Z-Line Toyota home and build on it for next year, try to make it better, and you know, have these guys owning up for tomorrow.
Kyle, what's it like the week that you guys have had as a team to come back and get in the car and know these aren't the same guys that have been here week after week?
That's why the sport goes along without anybody else that's been here in the past. It just keeps going. And yeah, we miss Dave, and we miss all the guys that are back at the shop, and you know, of course, Jason too over here on the 18 car. But we've got to go on. We've got to do our business here without them. But they'll be back soon enough.
Had they not dropped those lugs on that pit stop, did you have a car that could have won here tonight?
I felt like we were better than the 88 a little bit there. I know they caught us, but they couldn't get by us. So with the amount of laps that were left and with the adjustments that we made, I felt like that we probably had something for the 2.
Well, guys, he restarted 17th and rallied back to finish 7th.
Let's show you what happened. He's in position to possibly win the race. He came on the pit road running in 2nd spot.
And you see that lug nut fly off the car. They're trying to struggle to get another one put on here. They almost have it, and the jack drops, the car drives off, and they have to come back down pit road, put this lug nut on, and it cost them a lot of spots. Had to go to the tail end of the lead lap.
His crew chief, his car chief suspended. They were not here tonight, and communications cost him, although he did drive back to get an impressive 7th place finish. How about the season for Kyle Busch?
Just incredible what he's been able to do. Just phenomenal. He's gotten in different type of cars and trucks and been able to run up front and win. Another great night. I know it wasn't what they were looking for, but he has had one amazing year.
Kyle Busch is 23 years old and has just been remarkable in the youth movement. What more can you say about the talented young drivers in NASCAR like this guy? As Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, Brad, it's victory lane at Bristol. It just doesn't get any better than this.
The NASCAR Nationwide Series at Bristol is brought to you by Aaron's. With over 1,500 stores nationwide, everyone's a lucky dog at Aaron's. And the Dale Jr. Division of the U.S. Navy. The bad news for Clint Boyer is that one of his rivals for the NASCAR Nationwide Series Championship finished ahead of him and gained some points on him tonight. The good news is it was only 10 that Brad Keselowski gained on Clint Boyer, while Clint gained a whole pile on Carl Edwards. In fact, some 128, Shannon.
Right, Alan, 2nd place finish for Clint Boyer in this number 2 car, but it is written all over your face. You are not happy with the 2nd place finish, are you, Clint?
Nah, no. I mean, it's, you know, this racing's a humbling sport, but, yeah, it's just been frustrating. It's been a frustrating 2 months for me, and, you know, Cup side ain't been going the best, and we've been struggling over here, but, you know, the bottom line is we finished 2nd. It's a good points night for us, you know, obviously, but, you know, they expect me to win races when they put me in cars like that. It's not fair for those guys, and I just messed up down there. I don't know, you know, hadn't been giving me that sign all night long, and been fast. Just unfortunate. BB&T deserved to win. I gave it away for him.
Yeah, describe what happened when Brad Keselowski got by you. We saw you get loose. Just what did you feel from the seat?
Yeah, just got loose, and the rest is history.
All right, Clint Boyer, your points leader, still by 122 points.
Well, Shannon, the celebration continues here in Victory Lane. We're catching up now with the winning car owner, Dale Earnhardt Jr. What's this like being an owner in Victory Lane?
Well, you know, it gives me a lot of pride to win at Bristol. It's a tough racetrack, and I'm really proud of the job Brad did tonight. He did an amazing job. He had a great car. Tony Sr. and his team really built him a great race car, and I'm just proud for Brad, man. It's got to be a big moment for him and his family, and he's having such a great year. He's done such a good job for us this year and our team and our company, and I couldn't be happier right now.
How realistic is the championship starting to look now?
It's looked realistic since we got about a third of the way into the season. Brad was really consistent, and we've just been preaching patience and taking what you can get. And he made the best of a real good situation tonight with such a great race car. They had great pit stops, and he just, when things aren't going wrong, or when things aren't going right for him, is when it'll tell the tale of whether we're going to win the championship or not, if he can make the best of those situations. But on nights like tonight, when you got a good enough car to win, to be able to get the win, that really helps. And Clint's a tough competitor, and Richard and them guys, they've done such a good job with their Busch program over the last several years, and they're very tough to beat. And I'm really proud as an owner to have gotten to this level. I got to say to Rick and all the guys at home that work on these cars, they put so much into it, and that's what it's all for.
And you can see the big smile on Dale Jr.'s face. He wasn't in Nashville to celebrate with Brad in that first win, but he's here now and enjoying every minute, Jamie.
Mike, certainly a big moment for him. Now, David Rudiman finished 8th tonight. A good points night, gained 1 position in the points 4th. Looking at the big picture, championship-wise, is it still within grasp?
Yeah, it's a long shot for sure. But we've done a pretty good job of taking the winner's dream machine out of contention in the last couple of weeks. But and we really weren't very good tonight either. Fought it all night, and I don't know, kind of disappointed. But still, on top of it all, we're still thinking about Kim Butler and his family. I know they're, I wish they could have been here tonight, and our guys out to them. And I got to thank the fans for coming out here tonight. We had a good crowd and everybody tuning in at home, but had a decent Aaron's Dream Machine. Jerry Baxter and the guys beat on the thing all night, and we just never could make it happy. So, and if the car isn't happy, I'm not happy most of the time. So it's unfortunate, but I got to thank Aaron's and everybody. Toyota did a great job, and we just came up short.
David, you came into this series a little bit later. I talked to Jerry Baxter, your crew chief, today, and he talked about how the other Cup drivers race you. Last week, case in point with Clint Boyer. How do you feel running against those guys? Do you feel like you're getting the respect you deserve?
Last week, I guess not, but for the most part, everybody's very respectful out there, but there's a group of guys out there. You have to prove yourself on the Cup side, and you have to earn respect. And sometimes guys that if you can't earn it, they just take it. So I don't guess I've been too good at taking it so far. But guys are very good out there, and great caliber drivers. But last week it kind of was a bad deal, and but unavailable tonight. No problems tonight, so I'm happy about that.
Well, it was a solid performance for David Rudiman. Announced today, Aaron's will be back with them for Cup and partial nationwide next year. So good day for him, Alan.
All right, Jamie, thanks. I am just struck by the emotion in Clint Boyer's voice and the things he had to say there when we heard from him just a minute ago. Wow.
Well, it's just a little bit frustrated. I mean, the lead all day long like that, guys, and just dominate throughout the whole entire event, then make one little slip. I've been displaced many times, Brad, where you pick the throttle up real early in the middle of turn 1 and 2. Maybe gets a little loose on you, but when he got loose, he was right there and lost this race. So he's beating himself up because he lost the race. And he's been struggling,
He has been struggling. And you know what's always been the recipe for an ailing race car driver, in particularly on the Cup side,
a win.
Was to come over here and run well on this side. They come into the Nationwide Series and have a great race car and win. Then they feel a little bit better and they go over there and get their mojo back. He is struggling on both sides of the fence, and he's very, very, very frustrated. You can see it in his voice. You can see it when he's walking through the motor coach lot. He needs some luck on his side. He finished second. That's great, but it's not good enough.
Brad, winning here in a nationwide race at this particular racetrack is almost equal to winning a Cup race somewhere else. That's Absolutely. How big this race is, folks, and I can understand why it really killed him.
Now let's talk about the winner for tonight. We said in our NASCAR countdown earlier about Brad Keselowski. What an opportunity this race was for him to make a statement where the championship is concerned.
Well, he started dead last, Alan, in the back of the pack, and drove that baby real smart all the way through the field. Good pit stops, very, very smart driver. So, I mean, he did make a statement. He made a big, big statement because of where he come from. It's not that he started on the pole and won the race. Right. I mean, when you can go through 43 cars and get it done too, man, that's really huge.
That really is. And we got to put a lot of emphasis on that. I mean, you start 37th at Bristol. I mean, that's longer than a night in jail trying to get to the front. And he did an unbelievable job with his age of showing patience and maturation. He has just done a fabulous job. This cat is a serious contender for that championship.
You've never been in jail, have you?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, thank you.
See, I'd say that Brad made early bail, you might say. Keselowski, that is. Doherty, I don't know about. More to come from Bristol when we come back. Hang on.
Tonight's Food City 250 at Bristol is history. Here's a look at the remainder of the weekend motorsports menu. NASCAR now will kick off our coverage tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The NASCAR Sprint Cup action here at Bristol presented by Pennzoil Platinum tomorrow, 7 o'clock Eastern Time with NASCAR Countdown. Alan, Brad, Rusty, and all the gang. And then 500 laps of full contact stock car racing here on the high banks at Bristol. NASCAR now will wrap it up tomorrow night, 11:30 Eastern Time. IndyCar action out at Infineon in Sonoma Sunday at 5:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2. Pretty impressive runs tonight for some young drivers. Why don't we have Dave check in with Coach Joe and Joey?
Yeah, his favorite new or his newest fast halfback. How about that for Joey Logano? Let's start with you, Joey. You had a car that a little contact there near the end, driving a smoky race car. What was that like?
We definitely had the right sponsor for this one, Call of Duty. It was a war out there, that's for sure. So, you know, it sucks for the whole team. I mean, we tried hard. You know, we got behind the 8 ball in qualifying, you know, and we had to pull out the backup car. And you know, it's pretty good off the bat, and you know, I want to hand it to the guys. You know, even the guys back at the shop worked hard to get these cars, you know, just right off the bat, real good like that, and worked on it from there, and worked through the field, and just got caught up in one of those Bristol messes, I guess. You know, things happen quick. You're right behind someone, you check up a little bit, and wrong place, wrong time. The part that stinks is you work real hard and you get nothing to show for it. But you know, I just want to thank all the guys again. They did a great job all day.
Hang with me for a minute. I want to talk to Coach a minute about the structure tonight. The team's all pulling together, trying to make this thing work. Do you stay with the same guys in the same structure? Or are you and JD and the guys going to look at maybe change that up next week? There were some mistakes made tonight.
Yeah, I think really what happened, really, we didn't change anybody that would have caused a mistake, I don't think. We're really proud of Joey. All the GameStop people and a lot of their important partners were here. It's a huge deal for us. And really, I told Joey what he did tonight, and it happens sometimes in sports. You took something very bad, we had a tough time in qualifying, and then made something real, real good out of it, and almost something great out of it. And so I think that's a testimony to him and his talent, and to our team. When you pull a car off like that, and Joey on that first pit stop, we put him out in front of the leaders, and he pulled away from them. That car had no laps on it, and so we're really proud of everybody. On the other side of it, Kyle had a tough thing happen to him. We left the lug nut off. He probably was going to be a real threat to have a chance to win the race. And he took it and drove it back up into the top 10. So both of our teams, we're proud of the way they fought back.
I got to ask you, I know you have a press conference scheduled for Monday. Can you give us any kind of a preview?
No, I'm a little bit like, a couple of presidential candidates. We've made a decision, but I'm not giving you any information.
And I kind of expected that. Joey, I want to ask you one more question. Everything kind of
the same thing to say.
Oh, that wasn't the same question, but thanks for queuing in on that. All week, all this swirling around you, how tough was it for you to just be a driver and to come out here and race tonight?
I mean, it was a little tougher than normal, but you know, this whole Joe Gibbs Racing organization stepped up, you know, and you know, I came in here, the whole team came in here wanting to win even more than we ever wanted before. And we dug as hard as we can. And it shows tonight, we dug that whole race. And like I said before, it just thinks we had nothing to show for it, but we dug like heck today.
And you had a lot of people happy with how they did tonight here, guys. Hard work for these guys here at Bristol.
Another fourth quarter comeback for Coach Joe Gibbs' team, and what an effort. Joey Logano will finish 16th. It will not reflect on how well that car ran tonight and how they overcame a couple of different situations with the left front tire. And Kyle Busch having to go all the way to the back, the last car on the lead lap. He was 17th on that restart and drove it all the way back to 7th place finish. So another good Joe Gibbs team effort, although I guess they got some issues to work out with that communication.
Well, yeah, at the start of the race, we talked about how they were faced with some pretty, you know, difficult circumstances with the car getting crashed in qualifying. And I said this is going to kind of prove how much depth this team has. I think they proved they've got a lot of depth. What they did, they made a couple of mistakes on pit road, but they really recovered well and still got a decent finish. And like Joe said, it's almost something great. They really ran good. The car was really fast. I mean, they didn't have one lap of practice. They were faster than the leader, like he said, coming off pit road. So I think they did a great job.
Yeah, very well done. I think that, again, just as you said, it shows just how much talent they have around there. They could start a 4th Cup team and maybe another one of these nationwide teams and probably not hurt anything. But they also have some really good race drivers, and that helps a lot.
Speculation on what that announcement's going to be with Gibbs coming up in a couple of days. I think it's regarding maybe Joey Logano. A lot of people thinking about him maybe running his first NASCAR Sprint Cup event.
I'll be shocked if it's anything other than that.
Yeah, I think they're going to show that he's going to run some, and I'm not sure that they won't go on and talk about that. He's probably going to be the guy in the 20 car. You know, he's on a fast track and to good things happening, and this young man has shown that he can handle all types of different situations.
He's so mature, but how about the pressure of following a two-time Cup champion, Tony Stewart, in that 20 car? Now, we're talking about putting up with pressure. How about coming to Bristol? Dario Franchitti started on the outside front row tonight. He led twice for 87 laps. He's got a pole and had a top 5 finish. Almost had another one tonight. Dave?
Now with Dario Franchitti, the night started out so well, and the last few laps, crazy out there. What happened?
Yeah, we were tight on the last set of tires. The car was really awesome all night, and that last set, I knew first couple of laps we were in trouble. And then I put the right front fender in trying to get past the 22 car, and it got really tight after that, but he just wasn't giving us a break, and was racing me like it was for the win. And that allowed a bunch of guys who made better decisions in traffic, I guess, to get past. Real shame, because the Fastenal Dodge was good tonight. Just those last 15 laps just killed us.
Crew Chief Brad was trying to encourage you and have a little fun with you, calling it your dream race. I mean, did you have a good time out there up until the last 15?
Oh, yeah. I had a blast tonight. I really enjoyed racing with the guys there. The lap cars were giving us a hard time on the restarts, but, the guys that I raced with up front all night were fantastic. I really, really enjoyed it. And it was, to lead at Bristol, that's pretty cool. I mean, I love coming here. I've loved it since I walked in here at the start of the year, and hopefully we'll be back.
Well, top 5 finish for Greg Biffle here at Bristol in the Nationwide Series. How was your run tonight? It seemed like you guys couldn't get that car just right to compete for the win.
Yeah, I couldn't. They were just a little bit better than I was, right in the center of the corner. I was really good in, really good off, but just right in the middle of the corner, they'd beat me just a little bit, and we adjusted on it, got it too loose, and then came back and took 2 and tightened it up just a little bit. But they'd beat us we got better, but right there at the end, we were just, maybe if we had 4 tires, we might have been able to run with Clint, but we were close.
Now, you took the 2 tires on that last pit stop. Knowing what you know now going into tomorrow night's race, is there anything that you can take with you that you might be able to use in the Cup race tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely the 2 tires, is an option. It was, we tried it tonight and the car ran pretty good. You always have that question in your mind, though, could we have run with Brad in the 2 car if we had 4? So. But we hung on there, so 2 would be good for track position.
All right, Greg Biffle finishes 3rd here at Bristol.
But disappointment for another Roush Fenway driver who had been so hot after sweeping both events last week at Michigan. Carl Edwards finishes 37th tonight. And oh my, look at the points behind, 241 back. Here are some of the troubles for Carl Edwards. Watch the car coming off the corner just abruptly up across the racetrack.
Blown right front tire, takes out Elliott Sadler in the process. Just put them back behind the wall. Had to make a lot of repairs on this car to get it back out there. Dave?
And Carl Edwards had a strong top 5 run going, and then what went? The right front tire, I guess, huh?
Yeah, the right front tire blew, and felt bad for my guys, and definitely very frustrating in the points right now. I mean, my hat's off to Brad for winning the race. He did a great job, and Clint did a great job. But that's not what we need them to be doing for us to win a championship, We have to be up there racing with them. So just very frustrating for the Save-A-Lot team. I don't know what happened.
And I know you had a chance to talk to Elliott, whose night got kind of ruined too. Everything okay there?
Yeah, I felt bad for him. He was so fast. I mean, there's nothing I could do. I was just trying to stay out of his way. I had no warning. The tire blew. And it's just too bad it collected someone else. That's racing, though. We'll keep our heads up. We'll go racing at California, and hopefully we can make up some more ground.
How confident are you going into that race in a Nationwide car?
I feel real good going to California in the Nationwide car. I mean, considering how we ran at Michigan, I don't think we're taking the same car. He said we might have a better one. So if that's the case, it's going to be great.
All right, a chance to redeem next week, guys.
Well, Scott Wimmer's solid performance brings it home 6 tonight. Take us through your short and quick race here tonight.
Yeah, it was a pretty quick race. It looked like it was just going to be 1 stop, but we opted for 2 stops there, and just got off at the beginning of the race. We were real loose, got the car better at the end, and Pat and the Holiday and guys, awesome pit stops all night long. That's probably why we were up there, but we'll take a 6 and get out of here.
Gained 4 spots on that first pit stop. Let's talk about the announcement yesterday. You're not going to be back with Richard Childress Racing. What is it like running with this team, knowing this could be the end for you guys?
Well, it doesn't much matter. You know, Pat and the guys, they're an awesome group of guys. I enjoyed working with them the last couple of years here, and we'll see how it goes. I got some things working. My dad said I could come back and drive his bulldozer, so I got one job lined up right now, but I don't know. I got 6 more races. We'll go out and try to win those and get Holiday Inn and RCR in victory lane.
6 more opportunities to bring it home to victory lane for Scott Wimmer.
Wimmer trying to pick up his 2nd win of the year, but another driver has already done that. 24-year-old Brad Keselowski still celebrating, as they will for a number of hours here. Why wouldn't you? He won on the high banks in Bristol, Tennessee. Keselowski from 37th to victory lane.
Tomorrow night, the sound of racing engines will echo through Thunder Valley once again. 500 laps for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Bristol. Our coverage presented by Pennzoil Platinum. 7 o'clock Eastern Time, beginning with NASCAR Countdown. Got a lot of good things all cooked up for you. Can't wait. 500 laps here at Bristol tomorrow night, 7 Eastern, ESPN. Brian Vickers thought might have a strong race tonight. Thought he might have a chance to get up there and contend for the win, as he has made some occasional starts for the Braun Racing team this year. You see that the victory has not come, but 9 starts, 6 top 10s, and Dave, another one tonight.
Top 10 run for Brian Vickers tonight for Braun Racing. Describe your night on these high banks.
You know, we were not at all where we wanted to be when we unloaded with ABF Toyota. Just super tight. By the end of practice, actually, we felt like we had a really good car, and especially on long runs. By the time the race started, I don't know if it was the extra rubber from cup practice or what, but the car was just way too tight to start with. We lost a lot of track position at pits trying to make changes and get it better and better. By the end of the race, we were really happy with the car. Still a little too tight, but you know, started making ground and we just ran out of time.
Describe what it was like working with a brand new crew this week, because you had new crew chief Mike Hillman Jr. and his whole bunch helping you.
Yeah, it's first time working with these guys. That was the first time I ever even spent any time with them at all when I walked in the garage this morning for practice. So it was an interesting experience. Those guys did a great job. You know, really applaud those guys. I mean, really step in, jump on a car they're not familiar with whatsoever, and a driver and a crew chief combination, we're not familiar with each other at all. I think a 9th place finish is a decent day.
With all that in mind, a good result, guys.
Well, down here with David Stremme, a top 5 finish for this team today, but you seemed a little disappointed when I just came up to you. Why?
Well, these guys have worked hard on the Mastercrafts boat, Chevrolet, and we gave a lot up in the pits. I mean, we gave up 5 spots, and when them top 10 cars are running within a half a tenth of one another, you got to have all track position you get. But we fought hard to get back there in the top 5. We just need a little more time. But again, this is a building year. Real proud of all these guys. We keep digging. We'll go on next week. But again, I got to thank Mastercraft Boats for coming on board. I'm going to go out on the lake tomorrow and kind of relax.
Now you just, Cale Gale, our pole sitter, just walked by and you said he's going to be your driver next week. Tell me how.
Well, I have late model cars that I run, and there's a race in Caraway over in North Carolina, and he's not doing nothing next week, so I said, come on, let's go race. So he's going to run my late model next week. We're actually going to work on the car tomorrow and then probably go out on the lake on the Mastercraft boat.
All right, well, you have a good time on the lake. David Stremme, top 5 finish.
Obviously that just a little while ago. David with a great solid 5th place run tonight for the boss, although boss, he sounded like he wasn't all that happy.
Well,
with
he's a little bit mad at the pit crew. We got to get those pit stops a little bit faster, though, you know. So we got a 5th place out of him and a top 10 out of Steven. That was great. So good for the company tonight.
Yeah, good for the company from the 9-time Bristol winner. A little bit maybe rubbed off on there tonight. So basically the big story of the night tonight was Carl Edwards having his troubles and Brad Keselowski establishing himself as a legitimate championship threat. I'll be very interested to see when we move on from the short track back to the bigger super speedways that dominate the rest of the schedule for the year. There's a couple more of the short track races left, but the Californias and the Charlottes and the Kansas races and that kind of thing. If Keselowski can go out there and put another W on the board at one of those tracks against the Cup guys?
Well, I think he's got a good shot of doing that, Alan. I really do. I mean, Keselowski's been great at the 1.5-mile racetracks, to 1-mile racetracks, stuff like that. But the thing he's going to have to figure out is California. That is a really slick racetrack out there, and you know, it's very hot. The cars slip and slide everywhere, and handling's going to be everything. So if they can get that down there, I think he's definitely there. He's definitely there now, but that's a big one, baby. If you get out to California and pull it off.
See, I think tonight the big story that we keep dancing around is Carl Edwards. I think if he didn't get in trouble, it could have been a totally different scenario of who races up front and who has the opportunity to win. By him getting in trouble early in this race, it sorted out Brad Keselowski and Clint Boyers being the dominant race cars. We go back next week, Carl Edwards gets right back into the mix. If he can avoid the mistakes, he can reshuffle this championship run. And what a great run by Cale Gill. He did a super job tonight. Great finish. I really like this young man. I see him. He busts his hump in that garage area every week, and he's just outstanding.
All right, Doc, so Brad Keselowski still getting pictures taken, and he's going to take the trophy home.
And good for him to be able to celebrate a big win here at the world's fastest half-mile track. The question is, in the races coming up, can Carl Edwards get it done? 241 points back now of Clint Bowyer. Can he get there?
He's going to need some help. He's going to need some help from these guys up front. He's got a fast car, and it looks like they've turned their deal around. Drew Blickensdorfer, the new crew chief, has really got the team running well, and so I think they can. They actually, they can do well. They're going to have some help to gain some of those points back, though.
Yeah, definitely. Tonight, obviously, the finish wasn't indicative of what they've been doing. They have a very solid race team and doing very good things, but he's going to have to try to win. If he can win maybe 3 or 4 of these races, then he can still apply a lot of pressure to Clint Bowyer and Brad Keselowski.
Got to believe he'll be focused on heading to California and catching Bowyer. But right now, this night is all about Brad Keselowski and what he did on a fabulous run here on the half-mile in Bristol, Tennessee. Alan?
And tomorrow night, all of those seats will be full. And there'll be 43 NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars out on the racetrack taking the green flag, and it's going to be wild.
It is going to be wild. This is going to be an opportunity for a lot of guys tomorrow to get back on track. Jeff Gordon has struggled big time. He's really good here at Bristol. He's good at California. Yeah. And Brad, he's really good at Richmond. So this guy can get back on track in Cup.
I'm waiting on no heavyweight champ Jeff Gordon to march to the front. I tell you what, I went to the garage area today, and all these guys are excited. They know more about this race car. They know more about this tire. I think we're going to see a little bit of beating and banging tomorrow.
Don't forget about Clint Bowyer now. I mean, he's a short track guy. He can get himself back in the point stand. He's getting the top 12.
Get his mojo back.
Yeah, get his mojo back.
Jeff Gordon starts third tomorrow night, by the way. Carl Edwards and David Ruderman on the front row. Got some of the bubble guys at the front of the field, some of the bubble guys in the middle of the pack where the race to the chase is concerned. 7 o'clock Eastern. Our Sprint Cup Series coverage presented by Pennzoil Platinum ESPN tomorrow night from Thunder Valley. It is going to be a scream. I guarantee that. These people will be all cranked up. And Brad, well, we don't have to get him all charged up.
Fired up, baby.
Sports Center coming up next. And we remind you that, again, tomorrow night at 7 Eastern Time, we go 500 laps for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series here at Bristol Motor Speedway. So on a very beautiful evening in Eastern Tennessee tonight, one of the championship contenders had trouble, wound up with a lousy finish. The other two finished first and second, and young Brad Keselowski with his second NASCAR Nationwide Series win. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.